Inkbound and Last Squid Standing Keon both rated 4 and 5 in their groups yesterday after the Swiss stage round. Now finding each other face to face in Alpha Bracket, opening up an Alpha Bracket this morning. That's got to be exciting.
And you know what's funny for us here, Seth, because this is the second month we're together. Inkbound, I believe, finished third last month when we got the chance to cover.
That's
so it's great
correct.
to see, and it's great to see Inkbound back here in Alpha Bracket. This time looking to see if they can make it the entire way forward, especially with Zone's Hagglefish being the opener.
So Zone's Hagglefish, a good one to go out on. Opening up with going to the market. It's a nice morning to be going to the farmer's market this morning. So looking forward to that. Both teams are in the lobby, getting set up and ready to go. Like you said, Keon, though, I believe you're correct. Inkbound getting third last month in Low Ink. I don't think that their group stage went as well for them this month as it did last month. However, another team to be on the lookout for today is who's not on the screen just yet, but Royalty having gone 6-0 in the group stage yesterday, and got second in Low Ink last month, so up there with Inkbound as well. Both teams back in Low Ink once again, looking to try and swipe the win. However, for the time being, we have Last Squid Standing and Inkbound opening it up for us. Keon, take a look at these comps. A lot of headed.
Yeah, heavy-headed duel action between Kiko and the member of the Last Squid Standing. But the interesting that I've seen right away from Last Squid Standing stuff is a double cooler comp, which I feel like I haven't seen enough of. But I feel like it's one of those compositions where, hey, I feel like it should get a little bit more popular than it stands. But I get why teams aren't running it. But the eyes I have on right now is on Inkbound. They have a decap player that is readily available. Again, very popular weapon that we've seen in recent times. Gonna be curious to see how this all works out. Last Squid Standing has the first zone tap.
Yeah, Last Squid Standing is in a really good position here for follow-up. You could see Ceiling was kind of just waiting for that jump in there to get settled in. Crab Tank coming out from Gogeta, though, looking to try to clear the space, but not really a lot of paint going down on the zone Keon, and that's 3 members down on Inkbound.
Yeah, 3 members already down on Inkbound, and I'm wondering where the response was going to be from Inkbound. They want to continue their run, but it looks like, well, one Zuka shot is enough to do the trick, as that's a double there. Tetris is going to be able to take out twice, and now Inkbound down 21 points from main, but getting their first split started. They're going to try to see if they can return fire against what Last Squid Standing did to them.
Yeah, as the stars align, Keon, Tetra kind of closing out that delayed wipe for Last Squid Standing. Now Inkbound having Crab Tank for Gogeta again here, the penalty being gone. A lot of purple down on that middle section there. You can see Larry and Tetra trying to poke up on that elbow side on the ramp. They want to try to make a little bit more contact, but they are playing it really safe here. Definitely using Trizuka and the Crab Tank to their favor. They want to play at max range here, especially now with only a few seconds left on the timer. They're in a great position to follow up. Ceiling, though, with the Trizuka of their own, taking out Tetra in the process, taking out Larry too. Only 12 seconds left, though. Do they have enough time to try to follow up and take Kiko here? But not if they can't pincer in together. But it might just be not I just thought maybe it might be enough there. They delayed the timer for just a second, just a moment, but still no dice there. That's going to be Inkbound actually coming in to throw the first punch.
We gotta give major props to Ceiling, though, trying to at least give Last Squid Standing a chance to fight back there with not only just the Zuka shot that lands, but also a nice little carbon flick. But there just wasn't enough power to get back to the zone and get the retake there. And what we saw there is basically we just gotta get ourselves warmed up there from Inkbound. Yeah, you're down a huge deficit, but it didn't really rattle them at all. And I love that they kept that mental fortitude, and they realized, all right, we do have a lot of pain that we had in our squad. There's no reason to panic just yet. Still got to play it out. There was plenty of time left on the clock, and Inkbound was able to take that one home.
Yeah, but also you could tell that in that moment where Ceiling had the Trizuka out, they immediately changed their attention to objective as soon as that timer went below 20 seconds. They had 2 Zuka shots left in their arsenal after the first one when they turned around to face the zone. Were able to get a point-blank shot on Tetra, don't get me wrong. That was phenomenal and definitely in their favor there for Last Squid Standing. However, that was another shot wasted and not utilized on the zone to even get any more painting power on the zone, because another teammate was trying to get in there and help Ceiling follow up, but got taken down by Kiko in the process, who was just at a very comfortable position with their heavy edit in the center zone. So Definitely well played by Inkbound. Solid foothold, not overextending themselves when they did get a hold of the zone, and that's exactly how you want to play it. But when you go in now into Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track, so this is Last Squid Standing's counter pick. They know that Inkbound can play the long game and take position and take hold very, they can execute taking a position very well. So Last Squid Standing wants to play hard and they want to play fast, so Rainmaker is definitely going to be a good choice for response.
And to go off your previous point about wanting to play fast and trying to get the first punch, we saw right away they were not wasting any time getting that objective in Hagglefish zones right out of the gate. So with the way this map kind of shapes out, with Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker being very quick pushes and ones that could slow out of control, I actually do like this kind of pick in theory and on paper for Last Squid Standing if they wanted to play that same style. So I'm gonna be intrigued to see how this all plays out as we're loaded into this one. Gonna keep that same double killer comp. No surprise there, it helps aid to the aggression. Here's a Dread Ringer in the mix there with the Reef Slider. A little surprised by that choice, but it may actually work.
Yeah, I don't think Dread... I definitely think Dread will have a better time here than the Decapitator will. That's Tetra, who was playing the Decapitator last time for Inkbound, switching out to the Dreadbringer. With still having the Crab Tank online, though. Good, solid positions to take with Crab here already with opening statements. We have Koki opening up with that Killer Whale there. Not really causing too much of a disturbance, though. Inkbound having a really subtle foothold on mid. That's Gogeta popping that Crab Tank as well. You can see that everybody for Last Squid Standing is kind of spread out, and as the crow flies, that is a wipeout for Inkbound. First checkpoint is going to fall.
That, as the crow flies, is certainly one way to put it. I wonder if there was just a lone bomb that basically took out everybody there, because that wipeout almost happened near instantaneously, and it led to such a quick advantage for Inkbound. Last Squid Standing is gonna be the one quickly in that deficit. I know it's one of those moments where, okay, it happened so quick you didn't realize what was going on. But at least for them, there weren't any staggered respawns. They were able to quickly rebound back. But that first checkpoint is already cashed in for Inkbound.
Yeah, and Sealing here with a great Trizuka to try to follow up. That is going to be at the 58 mark currently as it stands, and actually Sealing going in for the cooler. That is one thing. If you have water cooler talk right now, Keon, that is cause and means for the Slayer of the team to try to follow up and go and take you down and disband the cooler talk as a boss whale in the office. And that's exactly what the Sealing was able to do. That gives Gogeta a chance to set up with that Crab Tank. That gives Kiko the opportunity to pick up the Rainmaker here. And once again, we have Inkbound on the follow-up past that first checkpoint. There's a lot of open space to work with, Keon, and especially with the Trizuka to follow up, this could look really detrimental for Last Squid Standing.
And for Last Squid Standing, they don't need to panic right now. They already took two members out. That's a heavy edit. That's Tetra down with the Dreadringer. So they were at least able to hold him off for a second time. And that Rainmaker is picked up, quickly reset, realizing where that Rainmaker stood. It's a great overall play so far. But now you got to figure out when will that first checkpoint come into view. Should be coming up here soon here, Saf, as they are able to take out Larry, who was on that card motor. And now this time, Last Squid Standing, they got the advantage. They got that checkpoint all cleared out. There's that core that is available right away, and they're trying to fire a few lob shots to no success as the Rainmaker gets dropped. That's a great response from Last Squid Standing. That also could have been so much worse for them too, defensively, with the way Inkbound was pushing up.
Yeah, and Tetra's in a good spot here with that Dreadringer there. They go with the Reef Slider and in the middle of so much crossfire and somehow surviving and taking two in the process. A great response from Inkbound. That's going to be twice called out. They're not going to be taken down, though, from the members of Last Squid Standing. However, Inkbound has the Rainmaker in their possession now. Only 32 points left on the clock here. I mean, Keon, I thought this was going to be a really quick game, but it seems like Inkbound is really taking their time with trying to play this one. They keep finding themselves in a delayed wipe scenario, both teams just at different times. But here's Tetra once again following up that Reef Slider. You can see Sealing trying to follow up, putting an end to Tetra's reign and terror. That finally, that's Last Squid Standing with the Rainmaker in hand. I mean, it's kind of a tit for tat match here.
This is pretty back and forth, and we know it, and you exactly noted it there too. There were several times where we feel like, all right, Inkbound should have the advantage, able to push up forward, but Last Squid Standing's defense is basically on point, and Sealing's just having a set so far, even with the team being down. Zealand's doing all they could to keep their team up ahead, and try to stay in this one. With a double that was cashed in from Sealing earlier, it's going to be the same situation. So they're going to have to figure out how to convert, but that wipeout is going to have other ideas there, Sap, and there should be way more points on the board right now. Kiko's going to be the one swimming up forward. 2 members did go down in that process. Tetra's already there. Again, 3 down. It's, again, a very strong hold from Last Squid Standing, but with the problem here, that 13-point train, that's a really stellar push and a stellar point cap for them. Might be a little bit more tricky, but there's still time left on the clock.
Yeah, and I think them trying to follow up on the left-hand side, I'm not sure if this is going to be advantageous for Last Squid Standing. Gogeta already going to take this opportunity. Can I go in for the flank? They opt not to because there is eyes on the back of Last Squid Standing's heads here. All 3 members that are trying to push up and cause some pressure are on this right-hand elbow side. That is Gogeta getting taken down by the Rainmaker shot. Tetra coming in once again with the Rig Slider, but guard as the Rainmaker shot takes them down. That is an open access point there for Twice to try to get through. They utilize the wall to their advantage, and that is the lead flip. Oh my goodness. Shout out to player 5. That is the uninkable wall in the spawn of Inkbound.
Yeah, and now it's overtime, and this is one of the problems with Humpjack Rainmaker is these lead changes can happen so quick if you lose out on these advantages, and that's exactly what we saw right there. The last chance opportunity for Last Squid Standing to give themselves a push, and boy howdy, Sav, they took full advantage of this one. We're going to game 3.
Yeah, that is game 3, and Keon, that is putting Inkbound on the counter pick. So that means that because Inkbound won Splat Zones, for those of you that might not understand how counter picking works, we don't know. We don't know. We just like to let you know.
Yep.
But for those of you that don't understand, so now that Inkbound is on the counter pick side, it means that they cannot pick Splat Zones because they won on Splat Zones previously. So they can pick Rainmaker again, so Rainmaker could be played again, but however, they also have to pick between Tower and Clan Blitz.
And I think Rainmaker, theoretically, they could go back to another Rainmaker map of their choosing if they chose to do so, which obviously we are seeing the quick replay here as well, with, again, the rest of Last Squid Standing doing their part to clear out everybody else. And I saw Tetra, by the way, earlier on that restart, excuse me, pretty much run themselves towards the wall. It was pretty much an easy pick on top of it, and now you had to hope that Last Squid Standing, they were able to stagger out the rest of Inkbound so the respawns don't favor them. That's how it all played out by the end of it. 6 points remain was ultimately the final score. And Saf, your thoughts on Crab Lake Capital Clan Blitz being the counter pick for Inkbound? If there are any.
I don't know if I understand it. but it seems that Inkbound understands it because they were the first ones to be readied up in the lobby, and it seems that Last Squid Standing is actually found pondering what they want to do with their comp on this change. So definitely Last Squid Standing is very puzzled at the counter pick here. As for Inkbound though, it seems to me that they're like we said before, they're very good at holding positions. Mm-hmm. And so they're very skilled at doing that, and I think especially with someone like Tetra who can kind of swing between the Dreadringer and the Decavitator and have a really good time with that. I think that's going to be really crucial for them to try to utilize in this one. And especially maybe if they want to switch to that decav with that bubble as well, is kind of my thinking.
I feel like this could be one of those maps where we shouldn't be surprised if Tetra goes back to that mid decav. It's such a stellar option in Crab Lake Clams. Though I'm intrigued by the map mode, but I feel like with the way, as you mentioned before, Inkbound being able to hold position, looking to play for that long game that has been alluded to before, so this probably was my original train of thought. So, of course, with Last Squid Standing being a little intrigued by this counterpick, they're going to switch over to the pencil, the much maligned pencil in certain circles. Hello, Hydra. How are you doing there from Inkbound? That's what Kiko's going to be dishing out.
Okay, so they're both like, all marbles on the table, let's just try to do what we can here. So that's going to be Pencil and Hydra are going to be what can we do here to have fun with it. Tetra's sticking with that Dreadringer as well. So Reef Slider going to be a good option to try to get up on that ramp and securely fasten yourself into the basket area of your opponent. That's 2 members down though already on Last Squid Standing. Inkbound trying to make their way and infiltrate into the center stage here, but that's still going to be a quick respawn time from Last Squid Standing, especially with Koki on that 52 gal. It seems like the displacement tools of the Killer Whale have been really useful for Last Squid Standing.
Yeah, but right now they're hoping to wait on that just a little bit more. But we did see just the 3 down there from last week saying. But to your point, to displace with Kogi on that 52 gal, looking to try to displace the rest of the group. The next step they have to solve though is how do you deal with Inkbound's movement. That's gonna be the interesting thing that they're gonna have to deal with there, as they already got that first push in, start on the 53 points remaining. And so far, though, they're keeping this push. They still keep this basket open for all it's worth. Gogeta was trying to throw in the clamp again at the nick of time. I feel like I've seen that a couple times already in previous tournaments, but this should be the push getting sold out there. 2 members going down, especially the Hydra down as well. 44 points already past the halfway marker. That's a great start for Inkbound.
Yeah, phenomenal start for Inkbound at that, because I mean, it leaves me wondering, we're still at the 100 point for Last Squid Standing. What are we doing here? But look at this, a rush to the finish. That's Koki and Sealing pincering in the splash player on Inkbound, and that's another member of Inkbound going down, but Tetra is going to try to take the trade with them, making it an even fight once again. It just seems like Last Squid Standing gets a really good first punch, but then, I mean, Inkbound is really keen on the response time, and so they kind of just even the playing field immediately there. Look at Koki trying to go up and fight with Gogeta. Maybe not the best fighting stance to try to take there. That's Gogeta taking down another player of Last Squid Standing there. So again, Inkbound is good at getting themselves a solid lead and then just holding themselves down on the defensive front.
I do appreciate the effort there to try to fight Gogeta head on with the crab tank, but that may not necessarily been the wisest thing to do. I mean, it's brave. We'll give them that. It's super brave there as well, but ultimately just going down for their efforts on top of it, as we do get to see that buoy bomb being used. The thing I'm usually that I was about to note there to look out for was the buoy bomb place, I imagine, will be used to help support pushes, especially trying to clear out that space for the basket to be cashed in. They're going to have to wait on that just a little bit more, though, as we're going to get the first push in from Last Squid Saint. Twice is going to be the one to get that one through, as Cotton's also throwing in some extra power clams. Now small clams, as they are able to cut this deficit down by just a little bit more. Twice's jump is actually just a bit short there, as that power clam should be disappearing there soon. I think that was the free clam back at basket, if I'm not mistaken. No, they just spawned one, actually, is what that was. So that's what they end up seeing. Somehow saving it, though. They're going to have to wait on this for a little bit longer, but hey, Saf, they cut that deficit down, so it's a good response from the Last Squid Standing. It gives them a little bit more breathing room.
Yeah, and the reason for that deficit to diminishing is because of Sealing, because that Trizuka that they had before that basket pop was, in fact, a triple on Inkbound. So down to the 56 mark. Thank you, and thank you so much, Sealing. We salute you from Last Squid Standing. But still a little bit more to try to make up. That's 12 more points that they have to make up to try and even get close to trying to change the lead. We only have a minute and some change left. That's Killer Whale coming out, and 2 members down on the side of Inkbound. So looking good for an opening push for Last Squid Standing, but you have Koki going down, and actually you have Kiko standing on top with the Hydra Splatling, and you don't have a whole lot of range to really work with to try to get them out of there. So play it carefully, play it safe. You have Sealing trying to launch those Trizuka shots again, not really deterring Tetra from any sort of defensive maneuvering though. So really gotta play this one carefully, Keon.
And the thing that Inkbound has done well is still trying to fall for the long term. But how long can you hold this one out for? Because Last Squid Standing, you know that they're going to be playing aggressively across the board. They take 3 members out. It's delayed 3, I believe, on top. And now you're going to be seeing some movement up front with everybody clearing everybody out. I think Sealing was the one there as well to clear out members from the lead change right out of the gate. And now more members getting staggered out big time. Yes, it was 3 down for Inkbound, 2 down for Last Squid Standing. But Twice is going to try to jump in, at least get a few more times over there as well. Saf, they cut this on 26 points remaining. Already the lead changes hands. Inkbound does have another chance left.
Yeah, Inkbound's got another chance left as we enter the overtime clock. That is Larry getting taken down as they had Trizuka in their hands. That's absolutely huge. Not only that, they have the power clam to boot, and that's Gogeta pushing up as well. That's 2 members down on Last Squid Standing here, but Sealing trying to defend the power clam, which is exactly what they had to do, because you could see that there was a puddle of a member from Inkbound trying to go in and get that power clam at the last moment. Sealing being the final defender. That's Last Squid Standing moving on to the next round.
How about Sealing so far? Great awareness.
For real.
Yeah. Sealant had a great set all on their own. Of course, rest of Last Squid saying knew the assignment, but that was such a phenomenal performance. Not just from the previous maps, this map especially. Great awareness, realizing right, that's the last power climb that's available. The other thing that also hurt Inkbound on that last attempt to push, one of the power climbs, I believe it was the Hydra player, that power climb was dropped right around the railing, which makes it much more difficult to get to, so they had to just scramble at the last moment, up, likely for that one power climb that Sealant was able to defend, and that's kind of how things go sometimes, or as your favorite phrase goes, how the cookie crumbles for Inkbound. And hey, Last Squid saying though, 2-1 set victory, it's very stellar, and Inkbound will have to make the run back in the losers bracket.
Yeah, well, when you have a captain like Sealing being the captain for Last Squid Standing, I mean, and you have the results to follow it up, like if you have good leadership, then like you're bound for success. And I think it's funny to me because I noticed Sealing's title was like mild middle manager, and I was like, buddy, middle management doesn't pull moves like you were just doing with triple Inkzuka, and then getting the points down, like literally clearing the gap, bridging the gap between you and your opponent in points with clams. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not some middle management type move. That's like executive type beat. And actually, something I want to note, Keon. I believe Last Squid Standing actually has some pretty significant results here, including they were first in their Division 8A in Season 15 of Ludi. So the most recent Ludi season, they have really decent results. So seeing them here in the top of or not in the top of Alpha Bracket, I guess kind of. Alpha Bracket's the top. That's what I think in my brain. You're on the winner's side. Alpha Bracket is in the winner's circle. And so Last Squid Standing, like, it's no surprise that they're here, and especially having somebody like Sealing being their captain. I mean, it's phenomenal gameplay to get to watch inside and out.
And I love the growth of Last Squid Standing too, especially with Season 15 Ludi being what feels like eons ago or ages ago. Their staff securing the victory there in Division 8A, and they've definitely showed up big time here with this Alpha bracket appearance. I'm honestly intrigued to see if they can go really far down the brackets, kind of similar to other teams like Inkbound and Royalty of last month. Especially too, as we do get a preview of the Alpha bracket here as well, and there are also other teams I have in my radar. I'm gonna be excited to see how they perform throughout. But yeah, for Last Squid saying strong results, and it's really showing in spades. Especially, I know you know that Sealing is basically executive level type performance that we saw throughout this set. But it also got me reminiscing. There's some really strong carbon players out there too, and Sealing being one of the many that I've seen in my Splatoon 3 lifetime is just awesome to see every time.
Yeah, I full on agree with you there. So looking at the bracket already, so Last Squid Standing is going up against the Dash Before Time 3. Okay, the Dash Before Time 3 went 6-0 in their group stage yesterday, so one tough battle after another for Last Squid Standing. A lot of decisive game 3s, Keon. Look at the top of this bracket here. Wow, Flipside and Rewind, decisive game 3 for Flipside to be moving on, knocking Rewind down. That's that's Roulette moving on, and This Is Fine getting knocked down. Royalty, and guess what? In a decisive 1-1, you have Honorbound beating Magic Beans 2-1, moving on. Which Honorbound also having a really, really, really big fight ahead of them between Royalty and guess what? As well. This is ruthless out here, Keon. This is a ruthless looking bracket.
I feel like a lot of the brackets have so many different teams having a lot to prove too, and I know I keep referring to last month's staff because it really feels like there's a handful of appearances that we see. You know, the Dash Before Time, that's basically the Goober Dash team. If you recall,
Goober Dash.
Two Goober, two Dash from last month. Definitely keeping it up this month too, which is awesome to see. I think we definitely saw Royalty. We definitely see Honor. I think Honorbound was probably seen in other places, but Inkbound is the one I'm thinking of. They both have Bound in their title. Forgive me here. But yeah, no. I feel like the competition just keeps getting tougher and tougher, and for solid reason too. A lot of these teams have a lot to prove. Flipside also returning back, I believe, from September as well. So a lot of these teams coming over from October now. Hey, you have one less team you have to deal with from September as they pretty much won the Alpha bracket overall. Now which team or which surprise will try to make it forward? That's what I'm going to be excited to watch throughout.
Yeah, and already those matches are underway, Keon, because Tidings has taken one game off of Flipside, and Tidings and Flipside came back-to-back in their group yesterday. They both came in with 5-1 records, so they came in with tied records in Group A in the Swiss stage. So again, two people that are equally matched coming head-to-head in round 2 of Alpha Bracket, like facing each other so early in the Alpha Bracket. I mean, you're so right though, like just thinking about last month and looking at this month is like, I feel has less teams, but the competition is way more ruthless.
Yeah, no kidding too. It feel you got a lot of the teams returning back over from Alpha side as well, and they want to win, of course, the entirety of Low Ink on the Alpha brackets sense. So I want to see a lot of these teams just pull a run of their lifetime here, as we do actually get a preview of the beta bracket here as well. Saf, and some very familiar names. Fish Kissers dropping to beta was a little bit surprising to me, because I actually did cover Fish Kissers in the opener yesterday for Low Ink, and they looked like they had such a strong performance later on. Just probably had a few losses there that made things that got them dropped to beta bracket. But hey, that's a team I have my eyes on for sure. They had such a strong performance. Of course, also some very familiar names on the board. Whip Rays, unfortunately, for some of us familiar, will have to make the run back down in lower brackets too. But I think we have some teams in beta bracket, very familiar names. But hey, may as well try to win out beta as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about Calamity Forge Neo. Calamity Forge Neo has also been making quite a scene lately, and posting a lot of achievements on social media. So Calamity Forge Neo also trying to look to make the run back in beta bracket in the losers side of things as well. But going back into Alpha bracket here, Keon, still waiting to figure out which match we're going to be watching here on the stream today. Actually, we just figured that out. Thank you so much. Shout out to our production staff, Inky. We're going in and taking a look at Roulette and Celestial. And now, Keon, I believe Celestial is no stranger to Low Ink Alpha Bracket. Like, they've been to Low Ink Alpha Bracket many a time.
I feel like Celestial has been a familiar face. But the only reason why it's just blanking to me, because most of my results are just from the past month, but it felt like they have been mainstays as well in previous Low Ink Alpha appearances. Last month was either a no-show or just got eliminated early, which I'm actually digging it up right now. No, they actually were at last month. I knew I was going crazy there, Saf. This is gonna be my time. They made it all the way down to lower brackets, and then unfortunately lost in the second round of losers bracket last week. So that would be last month. I don't know why I said last week. So hey, they're back here again. This time they got a win under their belt and approaching into round 2.
And actually, it would something else that's interesting, Kim. Sorry, I was reading something, getting caught up on a little bit of some notes about Celestial, because I was like, I know I've seen this team before. It's because they've won from the Ink Up. They are from the Ink Up winner. So that is also where I recognize the name. So no stranger to tournament results, especially from our pals over at From the Ink Up and Under Pressure. But also, Keon, this is a run back. Roulette and Celestial fought each other yesterday. So this is them coming back to duke it out once again. And the winner of the bout yesterday was Celestial. So Roulette is looking to try to roll the dice one more time and see the results.
Spin the wheel as well and roll the dice. Make sure to pick the right numbers there too. But also on top of it as well, Seth, not only getting probably a little bit of a chip on their shoulders as well. It's all right, now we got to take care of Celestial this time. Different format as well. If this is from yesterday, it was play all 3. Now you got a best of 5 ahead of them too. So it's very different. Now it's pretty much a battle of these teams are like, all right, we gotta set the pace here in round 1. Hey, speaking of which, it was exactly in round 6 of Group A yesterday too. Thank you, Inky, for bringing it down on screen. It was the 3-0 set victory for Celestial there yesterday. So hey, Roulette's looking for that set victory, and of course trying to get a map on the board against them.
Yeah, consider the information gathered. The notes have been taken. We're revisiting. We've put the study guide together, and now we're gonna try for round 2 against Celestial. We're doing the retake. We're doing the makeup test, Keon, for Roulette, and we're rolling the dice and testing our luck first on Splatsum's Mahi Mahi. Now, to me, a very decisive 3-0 yesterday coming from Celestial's side of things. Could that change up here with with notes being taken from yesterday and things that they want to consider. Maybe some map mode combos that were played yesterday could reappear in this counter pick best of 5. Who knows?
You want to know the best part, by the way, Saf? Not just the one. I was chuckling at the makeup exam because yes, you could say that Roulette failed the exam against Celestial. Now Celestial's decision to makeup exam is like, all right, can you solve us? But you want to know the best part here? That map 1, by the way, is Mahi Mahi Resort Splat Zones. Happened to be the game 3 map there in that round 6 matchup yesterday too. Obviously, as you know, of course, Celestial won that.
Picking up right where we left off.
Why not back-to-back Mahi Mahi zones for this run back for Roulette and Celestial? Well, I guess back-to-back being a little subjective because they did play around 1 earlier, but you catch my drift.
Well, if it's one thing that I hate more when I'm on vacation, Keon, it's when my teachers give me homework and give me things to study for while I'm on vacation. Yeah. So being at Mahi Mahi Resorts, trying to enjoy the sights and sounds of the jellies playing in the water park, I have to study for a test to try to beat my opponent because I get the opportunity to fight them again in Alpha Bracket. And especially a team that's not a stranger to Alpha Bracket and has been around the parts of Alpha Bracket and has significant tournament results. Significant in the sense of winning from the Ink Up. Now, I mean, an uphill battle for sure for Roulette. Definitely going to be trying their hands at this again. But I also wonder because I think that Roulette has a very established backline player in L8. And what I mean by that is like more chargers than just Pencil. So I wonder if seeing that the double cooler comp is kind of coming into existence these days and people that can actually balance it well, I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing a shift in the meta to where backline can actually be more viable without a Pencil. I don't know. There's so many more theorists and people that pay way closer attention to this kind of stuff than I do. So I just like to speculate because I could figure out that answer for myself, I think. But speculating's more fun.
Speculation's always the best part about trying to figure out not just get things in weapon comps, also game theories and whatnot. So hey, speculation's good, but we'll get rid of that here in a quick second or so. Which, by the way, to get you guys all up to speed, it is going to be the Nautilus and the Forge Pro. I think that's what we both noted. There's also the S Blast in the mini with the bubble. All right, everything's kind of all over the board for me.
This is so fun.
Go.
This is so much fun. Okay, so not only were they taking notes, they were having a good time with it too. Gosh, only in low ink Alpha Bracket will you see something like this. The team with Celeste with the S-Blast and the Zinni making the first moves to try to take the zone here. They also have a Tentabrella on their side here. And I believe that's Ace on the Brella. Yeah, Ace I believe is a Brella one-trick, mastering in all shapes and sizes of Brella. And for this one, they're choosing to use the Tentabrella.
Which is no surprise there. It's the Tentabrella with the Zuka as well, which of course can't necessarily go wrong with Zuka unless you missed a few of your shots. They're on top of it, but these are good. These are picks that are happening here fast as Roe is able to get 2 of them right out of the gate here. This is just almost full huck out, it feels like, for Celestial there too. Soul's able to get was it kind of zoned them out, excuse me. But we do see Roe going down on top of it. It's 1-for-1 trade, but that's but the more this stalls out, the more it continues to favor Celestial. There's the triple splashdown, desperate triple splashdown, trying to get the zones cap back here, Saf. But with 10 points remaining and still counting, is the contest going to be there? Not with the 2 down situation, not with the 3 down, not with the wipeout. Nothing is going to be available for them with the retake. And so that's Celestial taking game 1 there, Saf.
I really do appreciate the Nautilus coming out and trying to get something working there because there was follow-up with 2 suction bombs. You could see the vision. I saw the vision, Keon. Not quite the execution I think that they were hoping for. However, the vision was there, and they definitely did try to put something together to break back out. However, like you said, a snowball from Celestial. Very familiar gameplay with what the other team was trying to cook up with. So moving into the counter pick scenario, so that is Splatsum's Mahi Mahi under Celestial's belts. If Celestial finds themselves in a counter pick scenario, they cannot pick Splatsum's again. So that's cause for concern then. So now that Roulette can actually pick what map that they want to play and not just be left to the devices of the Swiss map list, what do you think would be a good follow-up for them here, Keon? Especially with the weapon picks. Definitely neither team strangers to unique weapon picks.
I'll be honest here, Seth. This is just my honesty speaking. This is going to be a bit of a tough read with the way Roulette, what Roulette may want to do with what I recall. I think, as you know, there too, you had Celestial with the S Blast. I think they also had the Tenebrella as well. On the other side for Roulette, I saw the Nautilus. There were so many crazy weapon choices available that I feel like you could go either way with this. They could ultimately make the crazy run back there. We do have the map list on screen for those who are keeping tabs on what maps are available. Just to know, they have the entire list that they have in their disposal. The question ultimately really does become, what does Roulette want to do? And honestly, Seth, this is kind of a tough read because of how the game kind of played out in Celestial's favor, with it being as snowball as it could possibly get. I feel like Roulette, to no surprise, may want to just pick something that they might be best practiced in, but this also can get a little tricky based on if Celestial's also skilled at that same map there.
Yeah, I do think that maybe shying away from splat zones would be the right call. Just considering that Roulette considering Celestial took the zone and was immediately in the spawning area of. They were immediately in the spawning area, like you blinked and they were there. Like they were there in like no time wasted, and were very present in the spawning area for a long time. So I don't think picking something with a stable objective is the right way to go. So I feel like maybe Rainmaker, which it's like, again, with Rainmaker on a counter pick is like not the best choice of action, but it seems like having something that's a little more mobile could be beneficial.
And some teams probably would default to Rainmaker. I feel like I've seen a lot of Rainmaker counter picks throughout day 2, of course with my small sample size being a little small there in the past few months. But I feel like there's a lot of ways that Roulette could go, as we're still trying to iron out what counter pick they have. Even I'd imagine, Seth, this is also a bit of a tough call for Roulette, trying to figure out what do they even want to do here, because especially Celestial, I think, already has 4 maps onto them so far in this weekend of in this month's edition of Low Ink. Excuse me. So they're probably looking for, well, what we're gonna go with. But Zaf, I think we still have a few more times. We still have a few more minutes here to.
We do. We still have a few more times. Unit
exactly.
Measurements of time.
Measurement of time will be good. You can tell I'm still trying to wake up a little bit here.
We still have a couple of units, but listen, we finally got our map mode figured out, you guys. We're coming up, and actually, this was like second on my mind, I think, for a counter pick choice. Not so much the map, but the mode. So Clan Blitz Museum de Alfonsino. Basket is really, really far back in front of the spawning area on this map. It has the giant spinner. There's a lot of different positions to take when the team fight makes it into the spawning point. I really think that Roulette, being the ones picking this, they need to be really mindful of how they want to move forward with this, because as we saw before, Celestial are not shy with taking position and then leaving position to be more aggressive, because they only left one person in the back defending the zone when the Nautilus broke through and tried to triple splash down on it. They only left one person behind as defense, as like safety measure. Mm-hmm. And so it leaves me to think that when you have something like Clan Blitz where the basket is in one place, you have to keep throwing things into that thing that's in one place. Yeah, just how do you want to, I guess, pace yourself in this with a team like Celestial that is not shy with putting objective to the side a little bit to play more aggressively once they have it.
And that's all I feel, and I feel like you're right on the money there. I feel like this is going to be the riddle that Roulette's going to have to solve here in this makeup exam against Celestial, effectively speaking there, because we saw how fast and aggressive Celestial played in that first map alone. And yeah, you put the objective on the side because we're going to be like, all right, we can move forward. We know that the objective is pretty much in our position. Now the ultimate question really becomes, how do you deal with this? Their response, by the way, Saf, is an ink rush. A little bit more skirmishy, if you will. I actually don't know there are any changes that I'm trying to recall from Celestial's end. So the Celestial ultimately keeping what they had in store for them, majority-wise. But I'm gonna be intrigued to see how this, how keep the Nautilus and then trying to go with a little bit more of a skirmish game with that brush is gonna play out, and especially with the first handful of minutes where both teams are trying to get that power clan spawn, and it's gonna be something to look out for throughout the next 4 minutes, 40 seconds.
4 minutes, 40 seconds.
Yep.
The time unit measurement. So Inu switching out and being on that ink brush, I think having more mobility for Roulette could be really major here, as they could see that they're trying to maybe mirror the type of movement that Celestial is making, but Celestial being the first ones to have such high clam economy, that's 0 on the side of Roulette and 2 power clams to boot for the side of Celestial. However, it seems like the fight that Celestial was trying to put up gets taken back down to the pit area, and that's actually a wipeout onto Celestial. So the narrative now is changing for Roulette.
And the way that Roulette was able to snuff out the push that Celestial was trying to do was very well solved, especially with the wipeout and the fact they had a power climb available. Now you get to see the silly moment where the brush is just like, all right, we're gonna just move fast. We're not there with that brush. Excuse me, and get the first cash in. Yeah, you did lose the majority of the fight, but I feel like the goal that they had in mind was, let's just get the first points on the board, give ourselves an opening push to work off of, and then just go from there. And that's definitely not a bad plan, especially if you are Roulette. But now your next riddle here, the next question you're having to solve is, now the Celestial's back in your base here at this stage. How do you deal with the rest? How do you deal with everybody else? Is the brush gonna be the answer? Inu takes out Ace on top of it. 2 members, by the way, are gonna go down. 4 is gonna have to retreat just a bit. I think Roulette may have figured something out here.
Yeah, to me it seems like Inu being on that brush is the answer that Roulette was looking for, because that was the key in their basket pop previously. It was also really key for collapsing in on Celestial's push, because they were about to take that platform wholeheartedly before Inu could break through and actually stop the aggressive push from the side there. However, Ace with this Tentabella is also pretty menacing, Keon. Already I've seen Ace block multiple Trizuka shots, and I mean, you only have 3 to utilize, and so having one being eaten up completely by a Tentabella is not advantageous at all for what you're trying to go for. But again, that's going to be Inu in a great spot on the platform there to try to break the basket open again and eliminating the penalty at that. L8 trying to follow up with another power clam of their own, and it seems like the members of Celestial are a little bit flabbergasted, quite honestly, Keon, because I don't know if they were really anticipating the amount of basket breaking that Roulette has been able to accomplish so far.
I feel, and most of it really just boils down to it. I know we put a lot of highlights on that ink brush, but it feels like it changed the entire dynamic of how the scene plays. That's a very silly Zuka miss there. I'm not sure how that missed, but yeah, 2 members going down for Roulette. But Roulette's game feels like it's predated on how Inu wants to push the pace with that brush. They're able to win out a few skirmishes there, a few fights of their own, and Celestial's like, all right, now Inu's just giving us a little bit of problems there. Now we have to figure out how to adjust. But by the time they're still trying to figure things out, Roulette's is just taking all that they can. They've already stopped a few Celestial pushes that could have easily developed, and on top of it too, we see that Inu's also trying to push that pace. We saw just that one and done push. Yes, you only break through just 4 extra points. It may not seem a whole lot in the long run, but it's causing Celestial probably having to think twice a bit here, Saf.
Yeah, and especially too, I feel like Ace is like one of the stronger players available at the moment on Celestial, and if you keep displacing that Tentabella and not really allowing them the space to move forward, then you kind of are doing a really good thing. And consistently we keep seeing Inu coming up behind different folks on on Celestial and taking them down in a delayed wipe scenario. But at the same time, Keon, I think Celestial has been a lot better about the clam collection and increasing their economy. However, I also think that's what's been kind of a detriment to them, to be honest, because just in that moment, there were 3 power clams all being held by members of Celestial. So immediately, like, that's a target on your back. That's cause for concern for Roulette to push forward and to come out and call you out and find you. And consistently, I feel like this is the type of battle we've been seeing, where it's Roulette that has a really strong hold on mid, and they're just kind of taking out the members of Celestial one by one.
And the other counterpoint to that is, if Roulette were to lose the fight in theory, that would have been a very devastating push that could have just broke the floodgates wide open. But right now with that stop, now they have to start regathering defense. But by the time this all happens, Roulette's like, all right, we're done here. Let's just get all the pins in that basket. They've already broken it down to 48 points range. Ultimately, the goal is prevent OT at this point. You've already kept this basket open for just long enough. And yeah, because they also had the lead on top of it when they broke that broke the basket open. No overtime to really speak of. And hey, that's a great response from Roulette. They tied the setup 1-1.
Yeah, I player of the game for that entire thing for me was Inu, because making that shift to the ink brush, you said it perfectly. Like, the entire pace of the game of how Roulette was going to even execute any sort of push or sort of play was definitely orchestrated by Inu, and how much Inu wanted to be forward or backward with their ink brush. And I think that, again, but I also think that in a way that was Roulette playing the long game, because they kept meticulously breaking the basket open over and over again until that final basket pop where they eliminated 30 points off. Like, a third of their points were gone in that final basket pop. And not only that, but you had Inu in those final, like, single digits taking down 2 people with them. So that's 2 people on Celestial that cannot defend the basket anymore. So playing the long game, playing it meticulously, having somebody lead the charge in the fight to initiate the team fight was definitely what Roulette needed. And I'm wondering now that Celestial is on the counterpick side, which I don't know if they anticipated that, Keon, especially from day one getting a 3-0 against Roulette. I don't think they anticipated being the ones counterpicking. So they cannot pick splat zones again. They cannot, they can pick clam blitz again, they cannot pick splat zones again. So splat zones was a really easy win for them. We thought, it made us maybe think that, like, how the rest of it was gonna go. But now Roulette's not making me not so sure. And so with the counter pick that Celestial's gonna go with, we're going to pick Undertow Spillway, and we're gonna be playing Rainmaker. So again, a fast-paced game, more mobile objective. You have to pop 2 checkpoints to really get to what you want, sure. But more mobile objective, more fluidity in how you want to play it. But if Inu keeps that brush, Keon, you have to adjust to the flow that Roulette is trying to put out on the table.
I have 3 quick points to bring up to you because we'll touch on Inu that you tossed me for. This is also, as you know, there too, first map win for Roulette against Celestial in basically the 5 map attempts there too. So they found something. The other problem that we saw in the previous map is the initiator, I feel like, was going to be Roy there on that S-Blast, but Roy couldn't get anything going from what it felt like. It was all just trying to play catch up from minute 1, and Inu kind of just played them like a fiddle. And the third part is, if Inu wants to return back with that brush, is all right. We found something with the brush that we could use to help dictate our offense, but now you dish out this counter break with Undertow Rainmaker, again a very common map mode combination you'll see in Rainmaker. So both teams, I can only imagine, being as practiced as they are, they may have plans already set in stone. The ultimate question I'm going to have is, what changes will Celestial want to make, if any? If Celestial wants to keep it the same, we have to look out for if Roy can get any value out of that S-Blast on top of it as well. Yeah, you have the other members like the 10 Umbrella and the Zap, but they can't necessarily move too far up, and they're just mainly there to help protect the rest of the team, but either through cooler or just shielding other shots. So that's the one thing I want to keep an eye on, what Celestial wants to do. We look into that Undertow Rainmaker map right now. Game 3 coming up here as we take a look at the changes. Again, Inu decides to dish out. I have to make sure that might be the vanilla sploosh there that I'm seeing. And now this is where the true change comes in here.
Neo Luna.
God damn it! Google has the T-Tech and Rally this time, dishing out a different blaster.
Yeah, I really feel my good friend Kia Dena in this Chili's tonight with that Neo Luna blaster. Shout out to you, Kia, if you're in the chat right now. That one's for you. Celestial is here for you. First Rainmaker touch, though, going to be had by Inu, and that is on the side of Roulette. Looking in on the left-hand side on that first checkpoint. The cooler, though, going to get rarely easy for Celestial to move fast and follow up here, but not quick enough. Oh, just quick enough, just barely quick enough to prevent the first checkpoint falling.
Yeah, just almost, that was as clutch as you could possibly get if you're Celestial on that end. But moving just a bit backwards, they're just not ready to have Inu just show up right now as Inu already gets 2 there. They're just using the Ultra Sand really to just break that Rainmaker side open, and the rest of the team follows up with getting a few more picks. You're going to see maybe a little bit of stagger here. Should be the first checkpoint. No, not quite yet. not quite able to slam it home for that first checkpoint clear. But again, the rest of the team is just right there surrounding this Rainmaker with abandon. The one thing I wanted to quickly note though is I need to see how this Luna is gonna get value there, because really on that Luna already going down on top of it, it's gonna be the open question. And they also have the T-Tech as well if they want to make that one happen. Of course, the order T-Tech is the variant I'm gonna leverage here. So they switched that cooler option to the heavy edit. It's a lot of different changes that Celestial's trying to dish out at this point in time, but they're the one having to play a little bit behind. I say a little bit because the checkpoint isn't cleared yet.
Yeah, and you know that's cause for concern, Keon, because that means that there was a conversation that was had with Celestial. And the conversation being that there are some changes that had to be made in order for success to work out. Phenomenal stamp throw by Inu there, taking out the body block that was on the Rainmaker previously, but that is the Rainmaker going down. That's almost Google going down as well, in a nice pincer maneuver from Orkanite and Inu. So Rainmaker again being held by Roulette here. I mean, Keon, luck is on Roulette's side. I mean, I don't know, dude, red or black.
I'm gonna maybe I'll pick red just for the sake of picking the color there. But the other thing I wanted, so hey, I'm that's what I'm gonna pick for them. But how about Roulette so far though? You noted that Inu already had dictated the pace with the brush. It feels like the sploosh. Inu is just trying to enable the rest of the team to just go for. All right, we don't even need a brush. Let's just dish up the sploosh. Sploosh fans will be very happy to see it pull through there. But we're gonna have to pump the brakes on that. Celestial already just broke through the first checkpoint. They got wiped out, but they got what they needed to get out of that one. First checkpoint's already cleared out, and Celestial had a much longer response.
Not too much of a cushion to work with, though, especially because Roulette is already quick to respond and trying to actually follow up on the right-hand side this time, moving as quick as they possibly can. That's Ace going down from the Tentabrella side. That's huge. You can see the Pencil trying to give a little bit of support to Anu. Anu is being really patient with how they want to push this Keon and actually opting to change sides. They're going to go back to the left. That was a really good call-out probably made by Orkanite here. However, it's the upside of that spawning area is actually not that big. It's so small, so it's easy to actually shift over to whatever side the opposing team wants to try to go on. So immediately that's going to stop the push from Anu. Still not getting the checkpoint for Roulette here. First checkpoint having fallen for Celeste. However, that's going to be a wipeout on Celeste. Keon, I didn't even see what happened there. I saw two people go down, and then suddenly the word wipeout comes across my screen. Finally, that's Roulette breaking the checkpoint. Only 1 point between them and the lead.
And that's one of those quick cases there. I think it was almost a blink and you missed it, because I also missed some of it too. I'm sure we might get a replay of it later there. But that also quickly flipped the lead the other direction. I did see Inu at least get the support on that third splat, but because they lost two right out of the game, then of course the wipeout appeared on screen so quickly. It's gonna be one of those intriguing things here for Roulette, trying to see if they can keep this momentum up ahead. Excuse me, but Solar and the rest of the Celestial crew is able to get a few out of there, and this is gonna be this Ultra Stamp battle there. Already collapsed on the Inu. Inu was completely sandwiched, surrounded by three members. This Zuka pick is incredibly clutch. It's two down on both sides. The rest of Celestial surrounded with Rainmaker. Sap, this could be a picture perfect finish coming up.
Yeah, that was a really, really gutsy move by Inu to hope that Orkanite would be there to follow up with the Trizuka. However, not enough defensive pressure as Celeste now flipping the script and taking the lead once again. 5 points on the lead. That's Orkanite picking up the Rainmaker to try to maybe delay the members of Celeste from causing any more damage. Unfortunately going down and delayed in the wipe. That is Celeste following up and taking game 3. I mean, it's a trade for trade situation, Keon. Either way, we're going to game 4.
Does it kind of remind you of the previous round we just did, that best here where you kind of get to see the back and forth, of course, ignoring the fact that game 1 was a full wipeout? Now we're kind of seeing that for just this map in the previous now we're just seeing it more in this map. Last two maps were basically almost as one-sided as you could possibly get, and now we got to see this whole back and forth chain happen as well. I know we put a lot of focus on Inu and Roulette, but Celestial's like, all right, we've had enough of you trying to gas up Inu. Now it's time for our show to start. And they really couldn't have cut that anywhere close at the very end too. It's about less than 30 seconds, which also meant if you got the lead, makes it much more tougher for the defending team to get back, because now they got to race that Rainmaker to the other direction and play that one perfectly. Celestial ultimately played their cards right, and I feel like it was almost a team effort as much as the other for Celestial to win that one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, I think the fact that Anu had such unique weapon picks, because once again I feel that for Roulette it was Anu leading that charge and just trying to be the first one to break in and throw the first punch for the members of Roulette. And here on the replay, so it was Roulette all the way down. We had it down to the 62. It was kind of a back and forth, and every time the team fight would fall apart would be in this corner for both sides. So whether it was Anu with their very engaging stamp gameplay, engaging in the fact that they would consistently find picks with their stamp, or it was in the sense of like the folks of Celestial in this corner right here. This is, I believe, where it all kind of came to a head. The folks of Celestial have enough people to try to follow up and to get something really going here. So it's challenging because now I feel like Roulette, either way, Keon, Roulette really took down some notes yesterday. And I feel like they really know what they're doing, and they came to play. They came to win today against Celestial.
I think, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the big factor here as well is not only taking the notes that they had against Celestial too, is that I feel like Roulette now putting focus on Inu also goes the other direction too. This is the last 30 seconds there, where the rest of Celestial kind of just held position. They're trying to wait for the jump time, which is very smart for that team, because that gives the proper reinforcements that they need, because that lead was not remotely safe in the slightest. And giving that reinforcements there, getting everybody reset back up was as smart as you could possibly get on Celestial's end. Now Roulette, you had your focus with it. You put a lot of focus on Inu. Celestial also had to understood the assignment, saying, all right, they're going to put a lot of focus on Inu. Why don't we try to figure out ways to shut Inu down? Because we kind of know how Inu is going to try to play this one out for their team. And it did take the last minute, but for Celestial, they at least figured out when it started to matter the most, especially with the points that were cashed in on Rainmaker. We got ship-shaped cargo tower control coming up, which is as a very snowbally map past the first one. And I feel like depending on who gets the better start, whether it's Inu enabling Roulette or Celestial as a team trying to find the key bits and trying to just swarm over to Roulette's side, I think that's really what we could see between these two teams here, opening up in ship-shaped cargo tower control.
Yeah, and I want to bring another comment back to Ace, our 10th player that we've been observing in this best of 5. I'm wondering too, 3 different modes of Ace playing the 10th umbrella. Are they going to want to change to a different umbrella with something like ship-shaped cargo? Not to say that 10 isn't useful here, but I'm wondering if maybe a different umbrella for the final game mode of the 4, because now we are seeing the 4th of the 4 game modes on this best of 5, which is kind of fun and honestly a little peculiar. I'm just so used to seeing so much splat zones and then the occasional clam blitz thrown in there. But getting to see one of each is a pretty refreshing on the comm desk side of things. But anyways, I'm wondering if maybe the tent is going to be a different pick this time coming out from Ace. I'm also wondering, I feel like Anu kind of just keeps us guessing. We did see the brush on Clam Blitz. We saw the splash on Rainmaker. Are they going to keep it close range on tower control as well? Especially because they are someone that likes to instigate fights, but they're also somebody that likes to shut down the push when applicable. So they want to have something that can hit hard and hit fast, but they also like to get really close and personal. So how you want to do that with tower control, I'm not really sure. But when you also have somebody like Orcanite that can follow you up with it. Look at this. You see what I'm saying? They keep us guessing. They're now playing the heavy Splatling Deco with the Kraken. And actually the Forge is making its way back from Orcanite. So we're taking out the Trizuka completely. Not sure how that's going to pan out, especially because Ace is still holding onto the Tentrella with their own Trizuka.
I have some on-paper concerns right out of the gate here with Roulette. This is almost as mid to backline as you could possibly get for this group. So you're not gonna have much in the way of being in your face and playing with aggression. You're gonna have to take full advantage of your range with the weapons that you have dished out. Roy, by the way, is switching back to the S-Blast being the big thing. So that's the thing you'll need to keep an eye on, is how does the rest of Roulette take care of Celestial with the range that they have? Inu going over to that heavy deck with the Kraken is a bit, I don't know if perplexing is the word to use, just a little surprising, I guess really is the best way to go about it. And that's the one thing you will have to keep tabs on, especially with this kind of mid to backline heavy comp kind of being used. But hey, I guess I'm wrong in a lot of aspects here, as they've already broke through the first checkpoint, but not able to get that snowball past the 48 points remaining there. It's a pretty strong hold from Celestial so far, and Orca going down will probably will also slow things just a little bit, unless, well, Inu wants to be brave and just get the power pushing anyway, so.
Yeah, that was an interesting jump coming from Inu to try to see how far they could really take things down to the 36 mark, which is actually pretty far in the grand scheme of things. But 3 specials available on the side of Celestial now, but that's the S-Blast going down, so that's a Booyah Bomb that doesn't come to fruition, unfortunately. Tri-Strike's being popped, though. The cooler is now out. We are juiced up on the side of Celestial. First checkpoint being tackled here. You can see there already, though, there's 2 different members kind of defending that tower, and Celestial is not going to overextend themselves here, Keon. They want the folks of Roulette to really take their chances and come to them. So look at Anu trying to use maximum range here. They don't even know that they're there, but they actually eventually get called out, but that's not going to matter as the lead now being lost. That's going to be Celestial changing the script and taking the lead back from Roulette, and Rowie having the time of their lives in the spawning area there. That is a delayed wipe, and finally leading to the ultimate wipeout. The Booyah Bomb coming out for some coverage, and GG's. There it goes, the battle. That's Celestial taking the game 4.
I get the idea that they tried to do from Roulette's end, just trying to see if they can play a range game, but it's a little... I'm not sure if that was the path that some would necessarily take against a team that you kind of have an idea of what they're going to try to run there, the S-Blast and the Tentabrel, and then of course they're going to have a weapon that is close to upfront as they possibly could with the N-Zap, or the T-Tech, or the Order T-Tech for that matter. So that's one of those cases where also to factor in a little bit of a wind-up time as well with that heavy Deca, which is on their playmaking player there in Inu. So it's one of those cases where maybe they may have tried to get something ready to go, but by the time that all happens, they're already being collapsed onto them, having to play a little bit more passively, and Roulette ultimately ran out of the base there from mid to finish line. But I do got to give a lot of credit though to Celestial there, at least being able to hold their own. Yes, they only just dropped the 1 map against Roulette, but Celestial, quick adaptations, able to take care of Inu in the game 3, and this one they understood the assignment and knew what to do, having to deal with the very heavy mid to backline setup. Yeah,
but honestly though, what an insane amount of growth from day 1 to day 2, because the first time there was no wins to be had for Roulette. They lost. Luck was not on their side. They lost the draw. They lost. The ball did not landed on black, and they were going for red. Like it wasn't in their favor. But with today, they came back with different notes. They came back with a different understanding and outlook of how Celestial likes to do things. And yeah, they were able to take 1 game. Unfortunately, still were not able to find success and triumph over Celestial, but they were able to show the progress that they made from day 1 to day 2 with taking 1 game. And it was a very triumphant game that they took at that. Like, it was a hard-fought battle for sure, but like the difference between game 1, where Celestial locked them out, to game 2, where there was way more of a fight to be had, and Anu was like the initiator with that ink brush. It was like a completely different team, a completely different composition to watch overall. But looking in on the bracket now, we're putting that one to rest. Roulette getting knocked down into the losers bracket against guess what? And looking at the losers bracket, look at this. Keon, 400 KMH had quite a run yesterday, but they are being taken down by This Is Fine. This Is Fine moving on to fight Honorbound, who was taken down by Royalty in a 3-1 scenario. Now that's interesting to me. Royalty also getting a perfect game from yesterday. And not really seeing the same results here in the alpha bracket. They still are losing. They've lost 2 games so far today. Going against Tidings, which Tidings, I believe, was also second in their group. So close behind Royalty in terms of skill. Close behind Royalty in terms of like where their current standing is. And also, Keon, I want to point out our friends Last Squid Standing. Look at that. Last Squid Standing got knocked out of the winner side of things. Went against Rewind, defeated Rewind 2-0. Just tidied up, kind of brushed the dust off their hands, and moved on into round 3. And they're waiting for either Roulette or guess what. Interesting narrative happening on the alpha bracket side of things. And of course, you can see the the dash before time 3 up there. 3-0 over Last Squid Standing, now looking to fight Celestial. Two very, very strong teams looking to duke it out in round 3. But also, again, I want to note, Royalty looking to try to swipe their first low ink win. But another interesting thing, Keon, just again, so many interesting things I'm seeing on this alpha bracket from what we talked about. Inkbound got knocked out. Inkbound was 3rd last month, and they got knocked out very early in the losers round.
That's a great note to have there. There's Tidal's Disruption, the one that disrupted Inkbound's run this month. They'll have an early exit for that team. And Inkbound, finishing 3rd last month and just falling a bit short. I can only imagine some disappointment there, and they'll have to just try again next month unless results have other ideas and they find themselves getting low ink band the other direction. But yeah, that's a little bit surprising there. I know a few people yesterday I was personally hoping to see the 400 km per hour team trying to make it far, but find themselves with the early exit. That against this is fine, but they were winners in my heart there as well. But hey, more importantly, Saf, three of the top 4 teams right now out of the winner semifinal side, I believe, made appearances in the alpha bracket there in September already. So they definitely showed that they're here to play this go around. Tidy Titans is the team that I'm kind of intrigued about, which is what we're going to have Royalty versus Tidy Titans on the other side of the bracket there too. But a lot of the teams that we're seeing right away from winner semifinals have feels like they got a lot to prove. The team I want to look out right away from the lower bracket, Last Squid Standing, could easily be the team to make a giant run all the through losers bracket. So there's a lot of eyes you guys want to keep an eye on. But right now, Saf, we gotta get this out the door. Royalty versus Tidy Titans is gonna be the one to start, and they're already gonna try to get this one up and rolling here. I believe the opener, is Barnacle and Dime Splat Zones.
Both European teams.
Yep.
I'd like to point out, Royalty and Tidy Tidings are both teams mostly comprised of European players. Tidings doesn't have too many results that I can really talk to you guys about. They do have a lot of very strong players on their side, I can give you that. However, Royalty, oh Royalty, my ode to you. My 2nd place alpha bracket winners in low ink September. Here again to try and fight their way up to 1st place. And I truly believe they can do it, Keon, because I remember sitting and getting to hang out with Royalty last month with you. And, we know they can do it. They have the right cards. I mean, consistently they can get down to Uno, but then they just get the draw 4 plus 4 pulled on them in the final moments where it really counts. So it's like, it's tough. It's tough out here in low ink alpha bracket.
Yeah, it's as tough as you could possibly get out of alpha brackets.
Do not give it only take it.
Of course. Royalty, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing else. I was just given a chuckle.
Oh man, yeah, we gotta get a few chuckles. But which, by the way, Royalty had to make the run through in lower brackets. We covered part of that run last month, so it's fun to see Royalty back here. But now the challenger approaches. It will be Tidy Titans, which by the way going to be on your alpha side. Royalty on the other Bravo side. Almost as standard as you can possibly get. The only oddities that we're going to see here: 96 Scout Deca with of course that Kraken. Hello Ballpoint, we miss you, the beloved, and the Custom Blaster making its appearance here. Saf, first points by the way out of the gate. Royalty.
Yeah, Royalty already making a huge splash on the center zone there. You can see that the 96 Gal is trying to maybe push forward on the street area, actually being forced to be pushed back because of Swashy on this crab tank. A lot of ink to be had coming out from Swashy, and you can see they're kind of just going back and forth too to try to get some paint down. But with the Inkjet coming up to follow up here, that is going to be Tidy Tidings now taking the zone in their favor. Even though with 2 members down, they can still take the lead.
Yeah, and they definitely taking the lead there. But it looks like we're going to be seeing probably the closest back forth we're gonna have so far. It's really going to boil down to is ultimately the spacing that Royalty is going to have to dish out with. But Tidy Titans like, nah, forget that. But so does Blush on the other end. It feels like we're going to be seeing picks left and right and even center fold here in this stage alone. I feel like we're going to be seeing a game probably in the next 3 minutes or so where zones just going to be traded both sides what feels like every other second. Maybe this will be the one big hole that Royalties is going to need, but the rest of Tidy Titans are just surrounding that with all their might. They finally break through out the penalty points. Royalty swipes lead once again.
I want to go back to what you said about all of these picks that are being had, because that triple splashdown that happened earlier, shoutouts to David for that double too. I mean, holy smokes. Make it a triple, actually. Holy smokes indeed. But that triple splashdown that came down earlier was also a triple pick coming out from Tidings. So definitely both teams are feasting on the picks to be had here. That's a nice one coming out from backslash face on the 96 Gal Deco. So Royalty sitting high and mighty on their thrones here with only 20 unit points remaining and 2 members down on Tidings as well. This is looking real good for Royalty.
Gotta love that he immediately jinxed the way this game was gonna play out there, Saf, as well. But this one will be the KO here. Royalty takes game 1. You know, I immediately said, like, maybe a minute or so ago that this would be a back-and-forth matchup. Royalty apparently just heard me like, no, we're not gonna let you have your narratives of this being back-and-forth. We're just gonna take this one all the way home. And David's triple pretty much just enabled everything else. You get the Kraken for that support as well, just diving deep into that base. They get the one low pick, and then it just became Stagger City effectively for Tidings having to play catch up the rest of the way through. Royalty taking game 1 is a great start for them, and hopefully trying to have something to prove here for the here in this semifinals matchup.
And I honestly, Keon, I'm noticing something here live on the commentator desk. To me, it seems like having that more delayed wipe type of scenario that David set up for themselves is more advantageous than taking 3 down at once. Does it feel better to take 3 down at once? Absolutely. Shout out to you, triple bomb kills out there, far and wide. But, I mean, I feel that having them more delayed is easier because you have people coming out of spawn quicker, but they're coming out of spawn by themselves. And then their teammates are kind of too far behind them. It's like when you walk on a trailer or you're on a hike, you have to have this what's called the 6-foot rule. And you have the 6-foot rule so that you don't hit people with branches that are walking behind you, potentially. And to me, it seems like we have to abolish the 6-foot. We have to sometimes abolish the 6-foot rule when it comes to Splatoon. And to me, it's when you come out of the spawn, you don't want to be staggering yourselves too hard when you come out of the spawn. And I think David set that up really well for Royalty. So on the counter pick, Tidings is choosing to go back to tower control. We're choosing to go back to ship-shaped cargo. I think with what Tidings was trying to run previously, and especially considering it was a kind of an even matched game until that triple kind of snowballed things out of control. So I think if kind of the rules of the road are just kill more and die less. So I'm almost wondering if maybe that is the key to success here for Tidings.
And maybe if that's the one I'm going to be intrigued to see if Tidings will be able to find even better success, because I believe this is their counter pick here in shape cargo tower control. And slash semicolon, which I believe we've been informed could also be simplified to bolt here for this matchup. They're going to be dishing out the range blaster for this one, which I feel like we will see blasters across the board whenever we see tower control in play. So hey, of course it's a solid choice. Flashy, by the way, getting the pick on the damage should help matters here. As both teams kind of just approaching mid with almost a similar, if not few tweaks to their comp. There, Lumi's still trying to pressure out the rest of Royalty, and both teams kind of having a hard time getting started there. Of course, I had to say it out loud. Royalty's like, again, we heard you. We're not letting you have your narratives. They take 3 down, they're going to be the one with the first flash.
Yeah, and again, getting staggered out onto the map. There was a jump that came in, the jump immediately went down. There was a follow-up to that jump, they immediately went down and were called out. So you don't really want to stagger yourselves here. That's what Royalty is anticipating and expecting you to do. So first checkpoint for Royalty, now having fallen, all 4 members make it 3 of Tidings are up, looking to try to take the fight here. David launching that Trizuka, not really having any targets to hit with, though, considering 2 different members now being down. You can see Lumi is trying to maintain some space here, using maximum rage on their ballpoint. But with the pencil painting up all around their feet, and you have the bucket trying to follow up on the ledges, that's not a really comfortable spot for Lumi to really be and to do something here. So the tower for Royalty has kind of just been sitting in that corner for most of the game, and just kind of in this like little straightaway here before turning the corner. But now with 3 members down on the side of Tidings, again, to make it a wipeout. Keon, I mean, Royalty, Bolt on Royalty here with this blaster is in a phenomenal spot to really displace things and to make sure that tower has safe passage.
I was gonna note there, bold using that range blaster and then giving avenues for the rest of Royalty to just move up has been so stellar so far. Long's gonna go down with that Trizuka on top of it as well. They're keeping what I love so far is just keeping that pace up, trying to prevent any semblance of Titans to get themselves set up there. And Lumi, another shutdown. I feel like from that Inkjet. For what feels like at least the second time in this map alone is making things a little bit more difficult for Titans to get things going. I feel like they're having to rely a little bit more on Lumi to get with the setup there, or try to hope for Desperation Inkjets to make this one count. L's making the chase on the blush, able to finally take out that pencil user out of the picture. And now it's time for Titans to try to strike first. They're gonna have to go 2 down, though. They may have to just rewind a bit, try to go backwards. Just try to get everybody back up front. They buy themselves a little bit more time, and they're approaching the first checkpoint. Trades on both sides right away here, Saf.
Yeah, and goodness gracious, finally, Tidings is here and playing the game with us. So first checkpoint now being fallen. Swashy on that crab tank is going to be huge for taking that first checkpoint. Unfortunately, though, you could see that Bolt was taken down over on the side there. So not Bolt, sorry, that's a different blaster that was taken down on the side in the pit area there. But still, look at that. There's David. There's David to follow up with the Trizuka. They want to get on that tower, prevent it from going any further. Not enough suspension, though, needed for Royalty to try to really make do with what they got. But, I mean, I say that, and then that's 2 members down on the side of Tidings, make it 3. So, again, it just seems like any time that Tidings approaches this corner, Royalty is quick to respond and there to fight back. And once again, you have Bolt on this blaster here. They when you know somebody can use a weapon well, it's really entertaining to watch it. And all they had to do was just kind of wait for that jump to make landfall. it was open real estate. It's free real estate.
Free real estate for all, and I just love great blaster play overall. In this battle between, I believe it's gonna be Babong with on that custom blaster, or Bo for that matter, get against, the range blaster user there as well, which is just gonna be the ultimate question: is who's gonna get the most value for their team right away? And Bolt's been the one that's been getting the most out of it. In fact, this actually might get out of control quick. It's 3 down, by the way. The rest of the team's gonna have to respawn. This is where Panic will tend to settle in. So Titans will have to play a little bit more patiently, try to get some critical picks that they needed. So they saved the checkpoint. That was key. But there's not much time left on the clock. They only got 15 seconds left to make this push count. So Titans has to clear out space. They gotta focus on painting the rest of the map as much as they can with about 8 seconds left to go. Now Lumi's gonna be the one using the H to try to push out the rest of Royalty. Any picks would be a great bonus round, but that's not what we're gonna see right away. With overtime kicking in, they got a crab tank available from Swashy. They're look for Swashy to pop that crab tank when it gets close to the point where they need to defend with all their might. There they go. They pop that crab tank, but there's Bolt right there. Few good shots forces the crab tank out. That overtime is gonna die out sooner rather than later, which it will barely stay alive. But for how long? That's the ultimate question. They're 2 down. The rest of the team's able to collapse onto that. It was such a valiant effort from Titans, Seth, but Royalty's like, nah, we gotta keep that run going. 2-0 lead here, and this should be set point, or I guess match point, if you will, for Royalty.
Swashy was so brave in the face of danger because in those final seconds they launched Crab Tank. They waited as long as they possibly could, Keon, before they had to launch Crab Tank for their own defense. But when they did, immediately you could see Pencil shooting at them. You could see Tri-Strikes getting lobbed at them from very far away. You could see different bullets coming at them. They tried to wait as long as they could. Swashy consistently tried to stay on the tower in the face of danger many, many times for Tidings. So I just want to point that out. I see you, Swashy. I see you, Swashy, and what you were trying to do.
It almost felt like that was a play they really had to do at that moment in time. They're having just alright. We got to get somebody sitting on the tower to at least have one last chance for an overtime push. Let's just put the splash with the crab tank whenever it's readily available to make that one count. And at the end of the day, Swashy, at the face of everything being thrown at them from Royalty, then just not enough left on the tank. And Saf, it's match point for Royalty. And again, this is the toughest place for Titans to be because they got to win 3 straight matches, with 2 of them being counter picks if they were to win this one. and they're gonna use this basically effectively the last counterpick that they have available to take it home on Pump Track Rainmaker. I'll be able to speak words correctly with that.
Pump Track.
Yes! But that's the counterpick coming up here, Saf. This is the one I'm gonna be intrigued to see if Titans has the answer.
Keon, are you a 2-wheel or a 4-wheel type of person?
That's a good question. As apparently all the dings are coming out right now. I'll say I'm a 4-wheel person. Why do you ask?
Well, because I'm just trying to think if I met you at the skate park at Humpback Pump Track, would I see you on a scooter, a bike, or a board? I also think you could rock the unicycle. For some reason, I feel like that's just like your secret weapon.
Nobody expects my unicycle game here at the skate park here, Saf.
They don't. Oh my god, they don't. I could see you going down the half pipe on your unicycle.
I speak a strong unicycle game. Just nobody knows it until they see it. That's the thing that gets them every time here, Saf.
That gets them every time. That's what gets them to come back.
Yes. But you see, I have to pull up on it. Yes.
I speak a strong unicycle.
I speak a strong. If you guys ever see me unicycle skate park, I think I've gone crazy at this time. Which, by the way, I know we'll talk about it later. Maybe some distant time in the future. We got Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker coming up. Here's Saf. I'll talk about unicycles at some point down the road. We already know the drill. Tidings is gonna be the one that needs to win this one from here on out. Hi, Carbon Roller Deco. How's it going? And the other change here is M-Parries, and for the second time on stream, it's a Luna Blaster, just of the different variety.
Yes! I love Low Ink Alpha Bracket October 2024 and the stands that we have on the Luna Blaster. I love it here, Keon. Opening statements being made, Swashy also changing, or no. Oh yes, okay, there is a carbon, but it's not on Swashy, it's on somebody else. I thought that I was having a stroke. Anyway, with that, you have 2 members going down on the side of Royalty. However, you also have the same scenario going down on Tidings as well. Nobody's really touched the Rainmaker yet, because it doesn't really seem like anybody knows what they're doing yet.
So this is the intriguing thing that I'm noticing out of Royalty is the one that's dishing out the very silly M-Parries, and then the Luna, which is the Luna with the zip caster, not the one with the Sam, the one with the zip caster, just your vanilla kit alone. So this is the one I'm wondering what the heck Royalty has in store for us with this one. They may have something in mind. Bolt certainly does, as they take out 2 by themselves. The wipeout is there. No checkpoint available, so now all the clearance is there in the bubble. With this being such a condensed map, look for the quick turnaround here from Tidings as they're trying to collapse to them on 3. But the Zap is the one that's trying to play front lines, and they're going to go down very quickly. It's the first checkpoint cleared out here. Zap, Royalty strikes first.
Yeah, they got to be watching out for Bolt on this Luna Blaster here. I think in just that run, Bolt was able to get like 4 picks. And then ran all the way across the map to help out with that checkpoint break. So 1 point difference here for both teams. Rainmaker is just kind of by itself at the moment. You can see all the members of Royalty are actually pushed back into the spawning area. That's Bolt on the sharking point, though, on the side of Rainmaker. I don't think anybody knows that they're there. And wow, what a turning shot to be had by Bolt there. 2 members down, though, on Royalty because of Lummy causing a lot of pressure over on that left-hand side. There's not really a lot of space to work with there. So that's going to be Tidings picking up the Rainmaker here. They're going to try to run it as fast as they can, but not before David is there to try to pick up the left-hand side, or the right-hand side, excuse me. But that was a 3v1 scenario for David, so that is going to be the checkpoint falling for Tidings.
Tidings was about a few seconds a little too happy there, trying to get that first checkpoint as soon as they can. They recognize it, all right, no, we're not quite there with you yet. We need to get everybody up front and try to surround the rest of Royalty. That's kind of what and Tidings finally realizing that they're having to play a little patient there, and they finally take advantage. Rainmaker is going to safely reset, but the most important thing here is that both teams are checkpointless, or what I like to call this 2-2 game now for Rainmaker, as now you're going to have to race this one from start to finish there. That's good. The question is who's going to break through past per checkpoint. We're kind of down to 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. And so far, Tidings might be the one with the initial advantage here. 2 members have gone down, but that's a great find. Who else? It's David that gets the stop there, and they will throw such a bomb. Such a bomb is a little bit of a present, but Tidings is recovering very quickly here.
Yeah, quickly at that, because that is going to be the lead change, but still, there is Bolt to try to follow up and put a stop to that as fast as they can. A nice double pick coming out from the Luna Blaster. That's three members still left alive on the side of Tidings, and getting it down to the 48 mark is going to be huge with a minute and some change left to go. However, Royalty has proven us wrong time and time again, and that they can try and change the script. But still, with Tidings being so present on this elbow side, they're going to keep trying to delay the Rainmaker push as much as they can, and they did that especially with Ella getting 2 more points.
Yeah, and Ella being very sneaky with the moves that they had, trying to paint their feet down, just trying to get a few extra points on the board, just trying to catch the rest of Royalty a little off guard, and in fact, even keeping the Rainmaker down there so that it prolongs a little bit of time to reset. But it's only 46 points remaining. It's not remotely a safe lead, so the defense needs to step up right now if you are the Tidings. But they've gone 2 down. Right as I know the defense
huge.
there, that will be the huge little sneak around there. There should be a lead change imminently, which it will be, but it's down to 44 points remaining. It's still the same script. It's not quite safe yet. Both teams are not quite in safe lead territory whatsoever there. The Rainmaker is picked up. They're going to have to play this one a little bit safe here. They finally drop it down, but with 38 seconds left to go, Saf, this Tidings now the one having to play a little bit from behind, but not by much.
Yeah, the Carbon just barely missing that sneak around from the Rainmaker ultimately is what caused that lead point to change. So it's super unfortunate just not being able to turn around quite in time. So now a 2-point difference here in the lead, but still a strong hold to be had by the folks of Tidings. But look at Joa here coming out from the back, taking 2 down. They eliminated the Crab Tank, took another down in the process. That's Bo going down in the process. And you have Ella on the Rainmaker again, but there's nobody really there to help them out. They're kind of stuck by themselves here as bombs keep coming in. You have different specials trying to be deployed here, but they are now caught out by themselves. That's the Zipcaster putting the nail in the coffin. Royalty 3-0 all the way forward.
I feel like this is the rare time where I don't think I've ever seen the points be 60 points or more, and it kind of just became this back and forth matchup. I feel, and let's be honest here, Joe is the one that kind of kickstarted that entire defense for Royalty there. That critical double just beat him up, having Sashi now have to focus eyes onto them, and not only losing out on the crafting, but also going down and then able to get the trade off. And with the game conditions the way it stood there with the last 20 seconds, you cannot afford to lose so many members in that situation. Joel could have not came out any more clutch at that point in time. And hey, 3-0 for Royalty. They find themselves in winners finals here, Saf.
Yeah, that's got to be feeling good for Royalty. They've been here before, Keon. They want to do it again. So getting back into the winners finals side of things is definitely going to be feeling pretty good for them. And it's looking like, just in terms of what the bracket is saying for us, that the dash before time 3, 2 Goober, 2 dash, the folks of 2 Goober, 2 dash, in the remnants of 2 Goober, 2 dash, however you want to put it, the dash before time 3, looking to try and close out their fight with Celestial and cashing in on a 3-0, looking to try and take on Royalty in round 4 here as listed on the bracket. But looking down below, Last Squid Standing, as we said before, getting the 2-0 over Rewind. We got to see them on the stream earlier today, and they get to go against Roulette. So Roulette 2-0 over guess what? Honor-bound, and this is fine in a very decisive game 3. The winner of that going against Tidal Disruption. And honestly, Keon, I think Tidal Disruption has actually been kind of waiting for the deciding match of Honor-bound, and this is fine for a little while now, because I've been seeing the 2-0 against Flipside since the last time we had a break.
Tidal Disruption and Last Squid Standing are making great. I don't know. Crazy would be the word I'd use, but yeah, they're making runs all the way to round 3. Tidal Disruption might be a little cold though, as they're waiting for that Honor-bound and This Is Fine to be wrapping up there in that best of 3. But yeah, Tidal Disruption convincing set victories 2-0, 2-0. But again, having to wait just a little bit longer there. So that's another team you want to keep eyes on if they're going to make a very deep run out of losers round 1 and possibly onboards. But I look at that, as you know, there's the remnants of 2 Goober, 2 dash. I'm actually having to look up what their original iteration was. in the I can only imagine this might have been in the August or earlier edition for them, which by the way we now know it's honor bound, but for Tidal Disruption. But still, for the Dash Before Time, the third iteration of the Goober Dash team, it looks like it's 2-0, but obviously I think we're still waiting for the set to go final here for to determine who Royalty is going to face.
Yeah, we're still waiting on to see if Celestial is going to extend the best of 5 by a little bit longer, or if the Dash Before Time 3 is going to segue into their sequel, the Dash Before Time 4. Who's to say it's a working, if that's the real title, it's probably a working title. But anyways, Keon, I believe yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a poll that was taken about cats.
So if you've been following the blue sky side of the fence there on the IPL, I think there was actually a legitimate hashtag, which I'm unfortunately blanking on. Someone's gonna forward me what the exact hashtag was. But yeah, there was a post about cats there. So hey, we might be, if we're able to get some, we might actually have cats to be shown on screen. But if you do have cats, which we have, hello. We got a glowing cats here available. Yeah, if you're following the Blue Sky feed, IPL asked about posting your cats using the hashtag glowing cats or glowing cat.
This is the best thing to happen to me this weekend, by the way.
We may have your cats over here, and as a person who also loves cats, we got some great cats on screen, everybody.
That's a good one. Oh my goodness, Nerf or nothing!
Yeah. I feel like I think all of us are just being suckered into Cat City here. Look at that cat! Look at that cat!
That's their house. That's their house. I really like the purple shutters with the green exterior is a really tasteful move.
Cats always love greenhouses and the windows. By the way, yes, we do have a full update here. It was indeed the Dash Before Time, or I guess the other iteration.
The Dashining.
The Dashining. There. So I'm actually trying to gather what their first iteration was, or if it really was just Goober Dash. But yeah, that's the matchup that Royalty has coming up.
All right, Royalty and Dash Before Time. That'll certainly be a good one, especially because not only our team, it's one thing to say that teams are familiar with the alpha bracket side of things. It's a whole other ball game if you're familiar with the alpha bracket when you make it into like the top 32, the top 16, the top 8, and then eventually making your way into the top 4. So I believe I want to say PS for the Dash Before Time stands for Paradigm Storm.
Think so?
Is that right? I could be incorrect about that, but I want to... Paradigm Starfish, excuse me. Paradigm Starfish is what PS stands for. So this is partially the 2 Goober, 2 Dash, Goober Dash, the Goobening Dash crew, but it's also a lot of the folks from the Paradigm Starfish gang, including Tormy, Infa, and Che. And I believe Pick is on Rainfall. I believe that tag is Rainfall.
Yeah, that looks like Rainfall.
Yeah, so, and then Royalty obviously is Royalty. We got to hang out and cook with Royalty already quite a bit. But I think with the Dash Before Time 3, you have a really fun mix of folks here. Because I believe, Pick, I believe, is on Rainfall. And then I actually don't think I know who San is. San actually just might be a friend coming in onto the pickup, as far as I know. So again, it's always entertaining to create and kind of weave the Splatoon comp narrative together when you have different teams playing together, and then they get different results and XYZ and where they kind of end up in their competitive careers. So to be honest with you, Keon, I'm not really familiar with a lot of the weapon compositions that Paradigm Starfish folks get to play. Other than I believe Tormy has a really unique weapon pool, and I believe also Che is like a dually extraordinaire, and like that's like the extent of my knowledge.
I may not be mistaken here. I think Che might be the another Dabbles extraordinaire at some point down the road. But you know what's interesting, Saf, by the way, because Bird has told us this. This is a rematch of lower brackets round 5, I believe, of last month. these two teams have actually played against each other. Royalty was the one that came out on top, of course, 2-0 against the 2 Goober 2 Dash iteration of the of September. So these two teams, I think, suffice to say, may have some history, only dating back to last month. So now the ultimate question is, does the Dash Before Time 3, or I guess you could say the third iteration of Goober Dash, have the things that they have to basically solve the riddle of royalty this month? That's gonna really be the ultimate question here, Saf. As hey, now it's last month was a best of 3 for them. Now it's a full best of 5 length because they're both playing in winners finals.
Hey man, I don't know. You got to really be looking out for what Bolt and what David are going to be doing, because they have been causing havoc on royalty throughout the entire tournament. But also you have somebody that's so solid in their backline, like Blush, consistently. I think they only pretty much use Pencil throughout the entirety of the time. But I believe that's also because they're the only person for royalty that is a cooler producer or a cooler using weapon. So it seems like maybe Pencil is kind of just like where they're meant to be, unless somebody else decides to pick up Zap or potentially head it. But it doesn't even seem like there's any Splatling users on the side of royalty to begin with. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so you're absolutely right. So looking on the screen here, folks, Alpha Bracket from September 2024, look at that down below in round 5. Royalty and 2 Goober 2 Dash fought each other previously, and Royalty coming out on top with the 2-0 scenario. But also look at the losers finals. Look at Inkbound all the way up there. Inkbound got knocked out in round 1 today. So definitely a huge difference from where we were at. And also, I'd like to point out Celestial as well. Celestial also made it much, much further this month than they did last month. So I mean, hey man, that's growth. That's growth, baby.
So you want a little tidbit from the September 2024 edition of Low Ink between these two teams, just to get you a little familiar, because I think we were actually
drop a nugget on me.
We were actually the ones on the mic for the rematch for that lower bracket. I believe we were on the mic for that one. For this one, this was when Royalty. This was a Scorch Clan Blitz map from round 2. Royalty was down 100 points for 28 points for and with one singular push with less than 30 seconds left to go.
Yes. Wait, I remember this.
Yeah,
it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, gotta refresh memory there, because Goober at that stage, obviously we're opening up with zones, of course, can't go wrong with zones for map 1. But a little tidbit there is that last month, round 2 was 2 Goober 2 Dash at that iteration had a huge lead, and then Royalty was like, nah, we're gonna swipe it in the last 30 seconds, and that's how Royalty, with the run of a lifetime, it felt like. The lower brackets, and I think may have been that might have been Royalty's only chance, supposedly, of possibly getting a better result. Royalty is showing up with a lot to prove here, Saf. They have not missed a beat since last month. And this time, they're having to play the faithful opponents of the now third iteration, the Dash Before Time 3, which I'll probably say Goober Dash at some point down the road. Which, by the way, Royalty is going to be on the alpha side. Other side is going to be the Goober Dash team. And here are the weapons. Yeah, this is all coming back to me now, because I do remember the Ink Brush. There's the Blue Dapples. There's Infa on that Vanilla 10. You know it, you love it by now. RBP Deco from pick there as well, and of course Royalty kind of dishing out very similar weapons that we saw from the previous set.
Wow, but Keone, the onslaught that just came out from Dash Before Time was so fast, because that already was 2 members down on the side of Royalty, and the tower now, or the zone now being taken in their hands. And immediately, look at how spread out these folks are. There is eyes on every entry point that could possibly be had on the side of Royalty. David using that Trizuka, having the vacuum pop though, just not a second later coming from Infra. That saved them big time from that Trizuka pop, but also it saved them from David coming any closer, getting taken down in the process. That's Joa on the stamp. Good pick from them trying to take Che out, which actually is going to be a major pick at that, because Che is one of their most aggressive players on the side of Dash Before Time. So with the Kraken 2 coming out from Bolt, there's a little bit of displacement there, but still, Keone, no painting tools for the side of Royalty. That's the Dashing Before Time 3 down to 20 unit points left.
You think the Dashing team Goober Dash had a lot to prove this month? I think they've kind of felt there. I feel like they're trying to take it all on Royalty, which gave them the 4th place exit there. This is the last ditch effort, by the way, for Royalty. They actually take 2 members out, make that 3. That's gonna be the lead. That's gonna lead change. Wow, what am I talking about? Zones change. There we go. That's the correct.
Probably
word.
feels that way when you're going from 0 to 5.
Yeah, yeah, 0-5. That was all of us. That was Sun all the way through. But hey, 5 points remaining. They have a big push to work with, but of course you can't put your foot off the gas pedal quite yet there if you are Goober Dash. Tormy's trying to be the one with the ink brush, but they go 3 down once again, and Royalty is quickly picking up steam here in the winning moments of this game, even though they are of course 2 down.
Yeah, but still, Royalty is so quick to follow up. That's Tormy trying to jump in and cause some damage, not going to really find any contact with the ground there. You can see Pick using their Rapid Blaster to try to get some more paint on the zone and even maybe poke a little bit if they can reach. But it's not really enough for what they're trying to do. Tormy now following back up to try to get back in the zone. That's taking one member down and also almost taking out another. Actually, yeah, that was a trade. So again, that is going to be the dash before time, taking the zone back again. Che trying to break in with the Reef Slider here to see if they can initiate a fight and take a little bit of distraction away from the objective, but it looks like they're maybe just trying to pinpoint where the members of Royalty are going to want to go, trying to maybe diagnose what their next steps are, but it just, I don't know, Keon, it seems like once one member of the dash before time goes down, that's Royalty's time to strike, but even then, with 2 members down and all of the distraction being taken away from the zone, that penalty is just ticking away with nobody from Royalty there to follow up.
As soon as we noted that, Bolt gets that critical double there with that Kraken there, but that follow needs to be on point at that stage. Joel, I thought he made the jump shot with the Ultra Stamp, and then decides, it didn't work. Let's just hold the Ultra Stamp. They actually get a pick by themselves, and the big thing that Royalty has going for them because of that critical switch there was they have been winning out a good chunk of these fights. They are getting a good they're having a decent read on the Goober Dash team right now. Again, we're seeing a lot of moments where Che and I believe Tori is the one on the ink brush are going down quick. The 10 is also going down on top of it too with 40 points remaining. Now they're out of the penalty points. Royalty could definitely push the pace a little further if they choose to or opt to just defend the zone. Che's gonna try to go in there with that restart, trying to see if they can cheese the zone split right then and there, which they may be able to with the Illumity assist with members going down. That was a huge zone split they needed at that point in time for Goober Dash, and now they're gonna be the ones possibly to take down on those penalty points. Maybe look for the KO just to try to seal it. But right now, minute left to go, Saf. This could get interesting quick. Yeah,
but that was the risk that Che had to take there, Keon, because you could see when they went in for the Reef Slider to get the front part of the zone, that was more so on the side of Royalty. They had to rely on their teammates to try and backfire onto their side of the zone. And so huge risk to be taken by Che, but it really did pay off. But Noah being the last one off the line, and they die on the zone at that. So that is the dash before time saying, putting the flag down first. They found landfall first, and they're putting their flag and making their claim.
Landfall, first claim here in the set here for map number 1 going over to Goober Dash. And I have a feeling both teams are like, all right, we got to get that first map on the board just so we have something to get going for. But now it's time for counter picks. And honestly, that first push was really all they needed there, just to give themselves a huge cushion to work off of. It did get a little dicey throughout. Let's be real there. A lot of fights were game won by Royalty at critical moments, but we could also say the exact same thing with the dash before time, or the dashing, if you will, for Goober Dash. But hey, a good job at least being able to hold the line, trying to keep their cool in those moments there. If I feel like it's not really 1 or 2 critical picks, it's just being able to win out the team fights when they started to matter the most. And by the end of it all, it really helped Goober Dash in this situation. Now we get into counter picks here for Royalty. I'm sure they may have a few things on their few things to think about now, especially with their opponent in question.
Yeah, and I want to make note too that it seemed to me that the dash before time really had a hard time with Joa's stamp. Because most times when I would see Joa with the stamp, they were chasing somebody down, or they had already gotten their target and were on to somebody else. Which is interesting to me, because I feel that stamp hit or miss is kind of something that you can just avoid and respect, similar to Trizuka, and just let it run its course. Or you can be quicker to outsmart it and get behind it and then get the splat and just kind of waste it, sort of thing. Or like or enforce the person to use it early when they don't want to. But I don't feel like Joa had that problem throughout that game. Like, even though Royalty found themselves on the back foot at the end, I don't feel that Joa really had an issue with using their stamp. And so I feel when you want to use do a map mode that is a lot bigger and has a lot of open space, such as Shipshape Carbuco, like the stamp was really advantageous. And actually, not only are they picking Splat Zones again, but they are picking Barnacle and Dime, another very open map with not a lot of overhanging hazards. So definitely have space to throw some stuff, have some space for Trizuka to really stake its claim. Looking at you, David. However, I also think you have to be watching out for Infa's Trizuka as well, because they were able to so tactfully switch between their tent shield and use the Trizuka when it counted. So
I think they were the 10th player from the last round, right?
Yes.
Because if that was so, they had the ink back. But that goes into the same question of whether they can lob that shot with the ink bag and then try to get as much advantage as they can. Because on the other side, they did shut down a few Trizuka shots. I felt like that we from what we saw there from Royalty's end. So that's the ultimate question. There is, can the rest of Royalty be able to solve it, especially with Barnacle Dime platform counterpick that they have in store for Goober Dash, because Goober Dash definitely picked up steam towards the end. Same with Royalty throughout, so could be seeing the same back and forth. So ultimately, I think what it's going to boil down to is not only the zones cap, how much advantage can you push? That's the thing we got to look out for.
I do think as well, I think that so far with what I've seen with Royalty and like who they've come up against, the Dash Before Time has done the best in combating David's Trizuka strikes, or Trizuka shots, I should say. David has a very keen eye for their Trizuka, and consistently we've seen them getting picks on people, and I feel like to Goober to Dash, the Dash and Goober Before Time has done a really good job at adjusting for those shots. And as I say it, once again, Keon, as the crow flies, that's going to be the Dashing Before Time taking the zone first. But also, they found themselves in a 2-man down advantage within the first 30 seconds.
It's gonna, again, the opening push will dictate a lot of stuff, because it can get your lockout positioning set up in such a way where hey, you could be able to take this home from 100 to 0. That's what they almost got out of it before they lost too many members in that juncture. So here's Infa. There's that ink back trying to protect the rest of the team. Just fired it point blank, and it's another quick wipeout right away for Goober Dash. So once again, they can go for that lockout. Look and see what Infa's doing there. They're just trying to defend the zone and then move 2 forward up. They got Shade, they got Tormy, you got the Blue Dapples and the Ink Brush. Paintbrush, excuse me, is exactly what I was trying to say there. Trying to move up as a unit. But how long can they hold this one through? Because we did see Royalty, exactly what we're seeing here right now, win out some of these fights when they start to matter. That's the wipeout. That should be the zone split. And now look for Royalty to see if they can set themselves up for better offense.
Well, much quicker on flipping the zone at that game, because I feel Royalty was really kind of twiddling their thumbs a little bit in the last zones game, and they weren't really going for objective as much, more so trying to win the team fight against the Dashing Before Time 3, the Goobers. So I think now with the penalty being down, this is going to put them in a really great spot here to try and follow up. They're not going to overextend. They are certainly not going to try to push forward without any sort of help from other teammates here, but that's 1 point remaining in between the lead, and it's not going to be enough, thank goodness, for Infa and their vacuum shot, because that is going to change the zones back into the Dash Before Time's favor.
Yeah, and they already got that delayed wipe. So now look, now you're seeing Shay being full on aggressive there with Blue Devils. Look for the restart to just try to barge right in. They're gonna have to just retreat, but they do go down. They're not gonna be able to charge that one then and there. And again, it's always these aggressive maneuvers that Goober Dash has been trying to go for, and Royalty always seems to have an answer for them at each go round. But what Goober Dash has going for them at this juncture is still being able to weather the storm when it starts to matter the most here. Kraken is going to be there, just obviously not going to put down a lot of patient play, taking out Tormy with that Kraken. Bolt's able to do so, and that tent could have not been any more perfect in terms of placement, but I think they did go down anywho. And this back and forth continues on. It's really going to be a game of cat and mouse chase until, well, there's that wipeout, and that's going to be Royalty getting that wipeout there. They should be able to lose points here soon.
But once again, Keon, that was Joa going in for that. They got a double pick and went down themselves. That resulted in the wipeout, and now the penalty for Royalty is eliminated. So this is the Dash Before Time, the Goobening, trying to break back in here. They have Killer Whale, they have Reef Slider, they also have that flying tent shield, and already it's immediately green and back in favor of the dashing before time, the Goobers. So it just consistently, it seems like both teams are able to break back out. They can win a team fight when it counts. However, it's just a matter of like who can really hold it down for longer. And so far, I think it's hard to say with spot zones with two skilled teams because it just becomes this big tit for tat kind of match. But I think here is going to be where it's major because I like that pick is staying further behind. They're not overextending themselves. They're kind of watching what's happening. But that's 3 different members down. I don't even know who picked who in that moment. All I know is that now the map is pink, and that's Royalty trying to follow up and eliminate their own penalty again.
If I am not mistaken, Blush's tap shots with the pencil got a double on top of it, and that could have not been any more clutch. That was almost going into KO territory there at that exact moment in time. And now Goober Dash has to know whether to get a third storm here, which they should be able to do here with the 2 members down situation that they have. Now they'll be the one taking on the penalty points, but they have to avoid overextending way too much to give Royalty a chance to move forward. They've done a good job at least shutting down any movements that David and Joel would have been trying to do with their specials, such as the Stamen, such as the Zuka. That is a pick, by the way, that I just saw. David taking out Tormy with, I believe, a suction bomb on top of it. It's gonna now be the next question. How do you stop Goober Dash at this juncture right now? They're 5 points short, and that's a wipeout. That's huge now. Now you can get yourself set up in position to try to set themselves up for offense. But Shay is there, and they were clutch trying to defend the zone with all their might. But that zone is still gonna be kept. They have to get everybody over there at the exact same time. Joel is gonna get shut down, but they will at least get the trade. That's still gonna be very nice. Everybody is gonna try to rush into that zone from Goober Dash. Chase able to get a few more, trying to rush in, and there's that Reef Slider able to get the other zone split, and they were able to weather the other storm. And again, it almost feels like the same script from game 1. Goober Dash had to stop another frenzy push that Royalty was dishing out. They're gonna be up 2-0, and it's gonna be match point for Goober Dash to see if they can punch a ticket to Grands.
Yeah, Goober Dash having an insanely different run and narrative from last month, because last month it was like Royalty didn't even give them the time of day. It was a 2-0 set in stone. Who knows if it was hard or if it wasn't. Like we don't totally recall. I mean, Kiona and I kind of recall. It definitely was a fight for the books. However, It seems that like Goober Gash, 2 Goober, 2 Gash, 3, the time of the great dash before time of the awakening of Goober to Dash. They seem to be they seem to have taken quite a bit of time and care to prepare themselves this time, because I also think that maybe they had predicted that the same people that they saw last month would be in the same spots where they are this month.
It's entirely possible. But it's also to also add to your thought there. A lot of teams from last month they could have easily prepared for there too, because you had Celestial. You also had I keep thinking it's Honorbound. I'm thinking Inkbound is probably one of the few.
Inkbound.
Yeah, it was Inkbound. I swear I've seen Honorbound elsewhere. Probably it very much would be. But yeah, in this case, Goober Dash feels like they're a lot better prepared. Their Royalty was hoping if they can do them in a second time this month, but this time dropping them to lower brackets, as you see, they can make a run for themselves. But Goober Dash has solved a few riddles against Royalty already, but now we got to go into the third map. Now they realize that the past two zones attempt has been no good, but even though they were close, so this one, if they go for a third zones, they have to have the right strategy in play. They could theoretically think, okay, maybe we could tackle him in one other zone map, just happened to not be the other one that we were thinking of, or they have to look to a different map mode that they could aim for. I know I talked about the game 2 that happened last month, but the problem that Royalty had there was that they were also down a huge deficit and they needed a last minute push. So I wouldn't be surprised if they for some reason don't go clans. Well, they do, but it's actually gonna be Crab Leg for their counter pick, and I think I kind of get why here in this case.
Yeah, I don't think going for zones for the third time would be like chances are.
You would be wise, right?
Yeah, it just based on previous events, it doesn't seem like that would be the wise choice. Crab Leg Capital, though, however, I think is going to be the correct choice, because I do think that this based on with what they've been able to get away with, what Royalty has been able to get away with, special stacking wise, I think this is a good choice for them. Just again, because I don't think that Dash Before Time, the dashing, has some sort of follow-up or way to counterattack some of the things that that Royalty's been bringing to the table. However, I do think that this, again, there's a lot of overhanging hazards here, so I do think that the Trizuka from David can be a little bit of a detriment here. However, they've been proving us wrong time and time again that they know their shot, and they are a marksman with the Trizuka, so they've been proving us wrong with that. However, I do think that somebody like Blush, who's very good at tap shotting, I do also think that somebody like Joa, like I said, who was getting away with a lot of stamp stuff, very precarious stamp stuff, I think that they can do a similar thing here, because I mean, Crab Leg just kind of works in that way to where if you don't win the team fight in the middle section, like, you're going to be locked out no matter what. So be watching on the flank, watch that left-hand side. I'm sure that especially for the folks of Royalty, they need to be watching on the flanking left-hand great side. And I think that I think for the Dash Before Time, they got to be watching for David, and they got to be watching for Joa.
Two quick points I want to throw at you here as we do get the weapon showing up. We got Bolt switching over to the custom range blaster with that Kraken. Now, if we are talking about Eon mini patches from many times ago, no unit this time, we would obviously be talking about Kraken. But no, we are past that era. This is gonna be as we're gonna see quick pushes right out of the gate here for Royalty, as they do take three, but I don't think too many plans in sight. But on the other side, Shades dishing out the regular Splatoon is a very phenomenal choice for this map with how much coverage that Crab Tank can give. But the other thing that Royalty also has to do for my second point is, how do you deal with Infa, by the way? That tent, I feel like, has been showing out some of the advances that they could have had. So, and that's the one thing that Royalty may have to solve, is how do you deal with the tent that's maybe giving them a lot of headaches throughout. As we do get to see David trying to go through, not able to get the pick, but they finally do right in the last few seconds. The push, by the way, already through. 1+1 is the score so far. Not the strongest of pushes, but they are points on the board here, Sap.
Yeah, and I want to say that Tormi, in the first few seconds, has been showing us the best gameplay that I feel like we've gotten to see from them so far on the stream today, because already that last pick they got was the third one that we've seen in the first minute and a half of this game coming just from them, and from Infra as well. Tormi and Infra are splatting up a storm on these sides here, and who would have thought that the Tenfrella would be the one to take the great side?
That's the biggest surprise of all. They are going to get the wipeout. Great defensive hold so far from Royalty. Again, quickly picking up that free claim, just so that not only to get the second one, but now try to get space built. And yeah, points on the board. A little bit of an interesting surprise that Info could be the one using the tent on the great time side of the ramp. But that's, hey, if it works out, why not? But
if it works, it works.
Yep, and another quick tap shot there from Blush, able to get another pick, but no advances so far. The rest of Goober Dash has kind of running circles around them. Tormi has already gotten a few of them out of the picture, or probably able to build up the space that they need. And Royalty could have easily pushed up as much as they could, but they are getting shut down in whichever way they can. And that once more, Goober Dash is already close to their base, but the power climb not quite there yet.
Yeah, and you can see Che is trying to take distraction from David and from Blush away from objective there. That allowed safe passage for the most part for Dash to break that basket open once again. Look at Tormi with the follow-up and narrowly avoiding Blush's shots, but that's Joa with the follow-up there to take them down. But Infa is going to also be making their mark at the same time. Che providing a jumping point there for any more folks to try to get in down to the 46 mark, and no points to be had for Royalty so far. This is a completely different narrative from what we were seeing earlier, Keon, and from last month for sure.
Yeah, very different narrative, and I feel like Goober Dash may have taken a few things that they need to learn from last month over to this one here as well. As Himpla's gonna be the one with that power clam there, and it looked like the top just a bit under. I think just a little under, or it might have been a pass play for all I know. But it was caught by one of the players there on top of it, and they realized, all right, I know what we need to do. We gotta get that score in, and it's down to 27 points remaining. And in fact, 3 members already down. But these are some clutch finds here from Bolt, and they will get the barrier back up just in the nick of time, and that's at least a decent enough hold but there is still 1:32 left on the clock, and this is almost shaped up to be something very similar for Royalty from last month, where they were able to fall back from a huge deficit, but this looks a little bit more difficult this time, especially with how huge this map can get here in Crab Leg, Saf.
Yeah, but you know what, Keon? For Clam Blitz, once again, we're seeing a really similar thing play out here for Royalty back in the Roulette game, because Roulette did this exact same thing. They slowly chipped away at their basket, and it looks like here that Dash is doing the exact same thing, and Royalty doesn't know what to do with it. They keep on making smaller pushes and chipping away at points like as little and minimally as possible, while it seems like Royalty does not have enough time to really get things together and actually get their own economy up. And by the time they do, 1 or 2 people are down, and so you don't want to push in with that. See, look at that. That's 2 different members down from Tormy up on the top left side there. And Tormy, yeah, getting taken down by Bolt is great, but look at this. All the members of Royalty are trying to push in to they're trying to push out of their zone here, but it seems like Dash is not really giving them any space to do that.
Info's critical finds, they're at least buy themselves a little bit more time, but now they have to they have to pull off this comeback in order, but this time to stay in the set here, and this is what needs to happen here. Here is where do you get that first push started? They take out Info, they took out Pick, by the way. Info going down is the 10th down, and so, but how do you respond with the rest of the group that's kind of following up right then and there? Here's Tormy, who's been a menace so far in this Crab Leg matchup, has been making sure that Royalty has no entrances in, and this may have bought themselves just a bit more time. Wavebreaker has been dished out. They should be able to find a few members in. They have to carve out a path. They take 2 members out. They have to hurry up right now. They take 3 out there as well, and they will get the first push in. They will get a lot of clips into the picture, but they gotta keep this push sustained for as long as they can. 39 points remaining. Kraken being used. They're having a hope to clear everybody out of the picture, but their clamps on the board. Yes, 27 points remaining, but everybody is done and dusted. There is no chance for a comeback anymore. Royalty ran out of gas at the last moment, and just like the last 2 maps, Goober and Dash holds by the skin of their teeth to win the set 3-0, and they advance to Grands.
Can we talk about how lucky that clam spawn was for Royalty? Can we talk about that? Because that was 0 to 27. That was 0 to 27 in the matter of in the span of overtime. 0 to 27. That is nearly all of the clams on the map plus extra. So literally, the stars were aligning for Royalty there to try and see if they could push this best of 5 into a reverse sweep. But to no avail, to no dice. That is the Goobening dash before time, the 3rd, the time of the great Goober Gash, the Goobening Paradigm Starfish pickup. Moving on to Grand Finals.
Look at the amount of clams they had. You know, they're 2 very serendipitous spawns, but this was also a huge deficit that they needed to hold for as long as they can. No members needed to go down at that exact moment, and they just didn't have enough left in the tank to get the comeback start. I almost had flashbacks. I'm gonna be real here, Saf. I almost had flashbacks to that game 2 last month. It almost happened the exact same way, but Goober Dash gave themselves enough of a cushion to prevent that from happening a second time. There, at least with Goober Dash, it wasn't their tournament lives on the line. It was their chance to get Grand Finals. Goober Dash solved all the riddles and are making it to Grands, and it's been a great story for them. Royalty has to do it again, this time in Losers Finals, awaiting whatever happens in Losers Round 4.
Could it be Roulette again, though? Could they fight Roulette for a 3rd time? Is Roulette going to roll the dice, red or black, for a 3rd time in this tournament? In Losers Finals. They want it, Keon. The 3rd time's the charm.
I hate to break it to you. It's not Royalty that did it. It was Celestial and Roulette. That could happen in Round 5, though.
Celestial and Roulette. It could happen in Round 5. But still, I want to see it happen. I really want to see that happen. But the dash before time is going to be sitting up in their ivory tower of Grand Finals for a little while until we can figure out the winner of the loser side of things to move in and meet them there. And to save them from there. But Keon, that is a mystery that cannot be solved by just us. We actually have 2 other commentators that are going to figure that out with us. We just gave them the building blocks to start.
Yeah, we gave them everything that they're looking forward to and it's a very familiar story for some that are tuning in, staff. But Seth, I'll be the one to do the plug first, and you can probably send us off if you're cool with that. Otherwise I could do it. But anyways, find me on Blue Sky. That's all I'm gonna say about that. You can find me somewhere. Hey, Seth, we got 2 new commentators. Did you know there too? Where can people find you?
Don't find me. Please don't find me. I don't want to be found. A lot of times I'm out in the ocean, or I'm in the woods looking at mushrooms, or I'm stuffing my pockets full of rocks on the beach. But you can keep up with me at Blue Sky, at Safirea, or Safirea.bluesky, whatever the formula is for Blue Sky these days. I'm on Blue Sky as well. There's also the other one, but it seems like nobody really cares about that anymore. So check out on Blue Sky if you want to find Kyun or I. You've been watching Low Ink Alpha Bracket, October 2024. You guys, day 2 is still continuing, and Alpha Bracket will continue shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Cat Review channel, October 2024. I am Popgun, joined by Storm of the General Variety, and we got a doozy of a set for you guys here in Losers Bracket, don't we, Storm?
Yeah, it's a interesting one for sure. We're gonna be watching the semifinals for Losers Tidal Disruption versus Roulette, and I mean they've been at it all day today, Popgun.
This is their 5th straight match that Tidal Disruption is going to be playing in the loser side of things. They're taking on Roulette, who has only been playing 3. This will only be their 4th match. So, yeah, a lot of losers, a lot of winning done by these two losering teams. And we're all winners, actually, because Roulette beat Tidings. And if we had to commentate a set of Tidal Disruption versus Tidings, I think we would have just cut to nonstop cats for the next 30 minutes while we got this one over with.
Yeah, I really didn't want to talk about Tidy Disruption or anything like that, because that would have been very confusing to have to do. I mean, at that point, we might as well tidy up the room with all the cats running around and knocking things over, as they do.
There's going to be a lot of cat running around when we get to grand finals, but right now we are looking at Roulette taking on Tidal Disruption. And what team here is using the Nautilus with the hands? Walk?
Interesting.
Of Roulette.
Like the pan?
Yes, I would assume so. Or maybe that's an E at the end with a woke, which is pretty 2024 of them, although the splashdown hands is not something you typically see. However, double ink strike coming out right there with zones with the octo shot and the splash, so we're going full meta as far as what cap zones is concerned.
Yeah, the aerial bombardment is definitely going to be a problem for them, but I mean, we're just seeing Roulette go down pretty early. A lot of trades all around the board right now, but early on, again, Roulette getting taken out a little bit at a time. They're coming back in now after they've just lost the lead, which is not really that big of a lead. And those tornadoes taking zone just for a second, but long enough for Tidal Disruption to lose that penalty.
What is this weapon? How long has there been a Splatbrella with Inkjet in it? And this is the first time it's ever made an appearance on a low-rank stream. I think it is. Inkjet working out pretty well on this map. You can use it along this left side, get some height, kind of like that old anchovy zones from Splatoon 2. But I don't even know the last time I saw a Splatbrella period in anything, even in solo queue.
Yeah, I wonder, they might be trying to use it to shield against the tornadoes from the ink strikes. I know that's not a game mechanic, but if only it was Nintendo. PC Rocket, 3 kills immediately, doesn't care about umbrella shield or nothing, uses that splashdown to solidify the zone here and actually push back Tidal Disruption.
Nautilus is such a good weapon. I mean, it's difficult to use just because pencil makes a lot of things difficult to use, but it's still cool to see when you get somebody who can just start mowing some players down. But right now, it's Roulette in control of the zone, no penalty points. There comes out another Inkzuka Jet Variety yet again with some strikes to throw on top of it as well. Finally, the zone's going to be capitalized by Tidal Disruption, but I'm sorry, 50 ink strikes get thrown into the zone by Roulette.
I definitely feel like this is what happened in like the early Great Wars. It's just where you push up a little bit, take a little bit of the enemy's trench, but then there's bombs and explosions all around you, so you just got to back up and wait for the opponents to retreat themselves. But we're seeing Tidal Disruption taking zone, taking a little bit of space. They have that cooler, but they're gonna choose to play a little smart with it, not just rush right in. Rose getting one, unfortunately gets out in a trade. Walk at least trading out the other guy, and so we're gonna be seeing Tidal Disruption still taking the zone, still pushing out a little bit more, and using those explosive tornadoes to take more space.
Anon taking their time away from 4chan to play in our tournament here, trying to cap the zone into the favor of Roulette, as they're trying to just barely hang on to this lead. Penalty points gone, but one player goes down, but it's still not enough, as the Nautilus being eliminated didn't really factor into the fact that Roulette was able to hold on to the zone anyways. A minute 40 left to go here. Another one of these Inkjets. We've been seeing a lot of these Inkjets, and they've been kind of going along the same route that we've been seeing along that left side. We haven't seen them be very effective at this point, though.
Yeah, not a lot of variety, but I mean, I guess that's not the important part. The important part is allowing your team to push up while not having to worry about the pencil or the Nautilus. That could be their plan with it, and it seems to be working out pretty much in their favor right now. They're close to that inkjet. If they don't go down, but they do, they're going to be back fast with that cooler, and a lot of players are going to be back fast with that death spree right there. They're gonna lose the zone here, but it's really not that bad. There's the penalty on both sides are around the same. It's not gonna be too far to take down, but Roulette's just doing a really good job at holding on at the last minute, waiting for players on the side of Tidal Disruption to get a little antsy and allow themselves to get in before Roulette loses the lead.
If I'm Roulette here with these 40 seconds and I got a 1-point lead, I'm just trying to hang on. I'm just bombarding the zone with these strikes. You got these double strike comp. Might as well just keep spacing them out and just keep flipping the zone back to your favor. Keep resetting the penalty points that are being put onto Tidal Disruption. It looks like they're able to do just that with 20 seconds left to go. I would have that splash. Just hang back. You get some strikes. Let's just GG this thing. Let's force Tidal Disruption to play into us right here. Having to use this inkjet really early on their own side of the map. It's going to chase a player around, but it's not going to open up this way for them to get back into the zone. And there's those ink strikes ready to be deployed immediately. Maybe got sent out a little bit too early. Yes. Ooh. As the flink strikes from the other side go and cap the zone. Now they're not going to have strikes ready to go. The Nautilus goes down as well as the Octo shot. So now it's just up to the splash. Can they get those strikes yet again? They go down. It's just a pencil. Oh, the defense does not hold for Roulette, and Tidal Disruption is just seconds away from getting rid of their penalty points. Rosie pushing up a little bit too much, but able to trade out with the Nautilus, and here comes this inkjet trying to just body block players away from the zone. No strikes in sight. Gonna have to be used early in front of the zone and not on it. Can they still hold on to this one though? Splash down into the zone. Did Roulette win that one?
I think they did. The zone's blue. Oh no, they were just so close to taking that lead. Roulette did a really good job. I mean, even though they were going down, they at least made some sort of effort to use specials to get in. Those strikes, we thought they were early, but I wonder if it was pre-planned so that they would at least have a smoke screen to get that splashdown in.
When it comes down to those last little moments, it's just so hard to make the right plays with the right exact timing, but somehow Roulette able to throw hands onto the zone. It was such a great back and forth. What a great game for a best of 3 set. So Roulette now 1 game away from punching their tickets to losers finals, as they're able to weather the storm and just hold on just enough being thrown into the zone right there. Rosie right here pushing up, able to trade, but I don't think it ended up being a trade because it looked, wait, no, both players had soda in them, so that it amounted to nothing anyway, so what do I know?
The only thing it did was remove that soda effect from both of them. But still, really good plays on the side of Tidal Disruption. This isn't like a one and done. This set's already decided. I think depending on what they choose for this next counter pick, they might actually have a chance to turn this around and at least put Roulette somewhat on a RNG spin.
To the person who said I was wrong, first off, you're using the wrong version of your. You want to go with the UR apostrophe. And also, December 2023, the Inkjet Brella 1 long link. Well, that was at least 6 years ago. Who's supposed to remember that? Clan Blitz at Crab Leg Capital is the counter pick coming out here with game 2. Again, this is a best of 3 set because these are a couple of loser teams looking to shed that loser tag and move on to grand finals. But Roulette barely able to hang on here. I wonder if they're going to drop the ink strikes now, if that was just like a one-time kind of thing for that zone in particular, or if they got like a plan B. We'll find out.
Yeah, I think that would make sense to drop both the strikes because, I mean, they're good on zones, they're good on haggle, but on crab leg, I feel like you've at least got to take control of the sides a little bit, and having a special dedicated to do that at any point would be nice. I just don't think that strikes are that special.
Here we go. Match point already. We just got on the mic. Tidal Disruption trying to tie up this set 1 apiece. Rosie has 5-star on every variant of the splatter shot, the vanilla splatter shot. All 3 badges on display there. And there is an ink brush. There was somebody in the Low Ink pre-show yesterday calling for ink brushes to be banned from tournaments. We denied that because that's kind of a cringe thing to say, but here it is in round 5 of Lucius bracket, anew using the vanilla ink brush with Killer Whale.
Yeah, and trying to make at least a point to possibly get it banned. Unfortunately, getting taken out by the entire ranged opponents. And that range blaster coming in pretty clutch, getting another pick. Rosie trying to at least push up and paint the ground for their team to advance. Not really able to get any kills, but did the goal of painting really well. Anon just making sure that the opposing team can't get any way into mid and have to stay on their plat.
Yes, the traditional pencil gameplay. I control mid. Nobody can do anything as long as I hit at least a couple of my shots. But here comes the brush trying to flank around the backside. Right? Yes. Oh, yeah, they're going to the enemy basket. Swerving around, missing the shots is Anon, and getting caught up on the follow-through as they try to retreat. The doors open up for Roulette early.
Yeah, and unfortunately one player already went down to a bomb there. Another player going down to the range blaster. And I don't think was able to get a clam in, but that's going to be 3 down on the side of Roulette. They at least have some points on the board, but they do have to come back all the way from base because they've given up all of mid due to those deaths.
And that's the frustrating thing about fighting against the brush and clan blitz. Anon had control of mid, but the brush is just so slippery. If you can't hit the shots on it, then it can just go wherever it wants. And then all of a sudden you have to turn your back away from mid, and that's when you get splatted on top of it. So as long as that brush is in action, Tidal Disruption is going to be the team that is disrupted and having to find ways to break through. But now they're pushed up yet again. Got everybody on the side of Roulette boxed into their map. Here comes Anon with the soda and the power clam. Going to be taking the upper route. Going to draw some tension up top here. That should open up the door for the ink strikes to land, and the rest of Tidal Disruption to attack the basket and get the lead here. Yes, but they lose a lot of players in the process.
Yeah, I don't think that was worth it in the end. I guess we'll see here in a minute, but they've given up all of mid because of that push. They at least have some safety net. Unfortunately, though, I think if all of Roulette throws at least one clam in after the power play, they take the lead there. That's not what they're worried about right now, though. They're just trying to hold zone as the Zuka's coming out on the side of Tidal Disruption. And you're trying to at least make them in a good spot, so if they get the opportunity, they can push up and at least get in the base of Tidal Disruption. One player already in there, though.
I thought you were going to say it will work unless all of Roulette throws. And then, I thought that's what it looked like. That's kind of what they were doing slightly, because they were overextending a little bit, feeding into the players that had spawned just back in for Tidal Disruption and going down one apiece. They have control of zone now, or at least mid, and have the man advantage though. But yeah, it looked like they were playing a little bit too aggressive early on. Now just having to dodge the crack.
Yeah, and you're getting out with their life, able to back up with someone else pushing them back. A bunch of bombs and explosives coming out, and you finally able to throw a clam into the basket. And yeah, we just need one more to get the lead. And it seems like this is how this game is going to be. Lead just swapping by one clam each time. Orca's saying no, at least give some more points. But again, everyone is just dying on either side whenever they make a push pop gun.
What is the? I don't see what the point of that was. You didn't even have soda. Yeah, if you go in there, you're down to 50 remaining as opposed to 53. Why not just back up, stay alive, build up some of your specials, and hold mid? It seems like blowing teams are so hyper focused on throwing in one more clam when it does absolutely nothing for you. Now 1 minute remaining though. Roulette is back into a defensive position. Woke is waking up and starting to mow some players down. Gets canceled, but the hands still land regardless. Tidal Disruption trying to force a game 5. They're using this Kraken defensively though. Or is this Roulette side of the map? It looks like it is. So they are trying to open up some space here, and they got some time and points to work with.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting the Kraken to once it was over to already be under the basket for a jump in, but they decided to back up and maybe save their life. Maybe they're taking our advice a little bit, trying to not just sacrifice everything for that lead. As another player unfortunately goes down to a perfectly rolled bomb by Anu, they're just trying to push up and allow for their team to take advantage of their position, and they seem to be doing really well. Rope is in a really good spot, just holding mid, and if they really want to, they
Are we
could.
done?
They could end it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They Tidal Disruption burned their Mercy Clam at some point. I was about to say, and I was wondering why they were dive bobbing on that one on the grate, because they needed that to force overtime.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they might have accidentally thought they had that opening up there, and then when they got taken out, started rushing out of panic mode.
So Roulette takes the 2-0. Tidal Disruption's going to be clocking out at 4th place in this low ink. Not too shabby, but just couldn't really get anything established and kind of fumbled away the end right there. Roulette looked like the more disruptive team in the end.
Yeah, they definitely did. They were disrupting every single part of that title, and fortunately for them, they're going to be going on to this 3rd place match against Royalty, who we had just seen not too long ago playing in the winners finals. They kind of had a similar fate as Tidal Disruption did just now. They were playing pretty well, and they just never were able to find the final answer to the problem in order to go on to grand finals. But they do have a shot at it, Popgun, to take it back and possibly even take the crown of the tournament.
Well, they've already accomplished something that almost nobody ever does, which is make podium of low ink 2 months in a row. Now, almost nobody does that because a third of the podium gets banned, obviously. But when you finish 2nd place and then sign up for low ink the next month, you usually don't do this good. So it's already been a sign of consistency, a sign that you are a legit team for Royalty to finish 2nd place last month and at worst finish 3rd place this time around. But they've been in this losers finals before. They beat Inkbound last month 1-3. Roulette is on a bit of a tear though. They just displaced Tidal Disruption. And the reason Roulette is down here at all is because they lost to Celeste 3-1. That was on stream earlier today, commentated by Saf and Keown. So Tidal Disruption was the team that knocked out Celeste. Roulette has won 4 straight matches in losers bracket, only losing once to Tiding. They've swept everybody else that they've gone up against. But yeah, Royalty coming into this one. Royalty was Roulette last month. I think Royalty made the same exact run, started in losers round 2 and then ran all the way through to grand final. So Royalty is very familiar with how Roulette should be approaching this one, having no real breaks for about a couple hours, just going nonstop, versus Royalty, who's had a bit of a break and hasn't really won a single game in about an hour. So it's some Royalty should know kind of what to expect here, but this is a completely different side of the coin that they're on as compared to last month.
Yeah, and maybe that break is what they needed after that loss. They could get some time to cool down, get some water, do whatever they need to do, and maybe they're recouped themselves and ready to take this back. And we might see that. We might see them just take it in a really direct and decisive fashion, or who knows? Maybe they decide that Roulette wants to come up on top, and because of how on fire they've been recently, they don't care about what break Royalty's gotten, and they just say, hey, it's our turn to get into 2nd place at least.
Now, General Storm, when you are playing in tournaments and you have a long break, like maybe you went down to losers bracket and you realize, it's going to be a while before the bracket catches up to us, or like you're waiting in grand finals or waiting in losers finals or something like that. How do you manage that break? Are you the kind of person to just kind of put the game down and chill and vibe out the music, or are you going right into solo queue to beat your brains out?
It's a mix of both. I won't queue up a match, but I just sit around for like 30 minutes or however long in the little training lobby, and I just shoot dummies for that entire time. And so I guess it's to keep myself warm, but to let my brain relax.
Warm, nice, warm, cozy brain. Do you have a cat?
So I do. Well, it's not necessarily my cat. It's my roommate's cat.
Okay. You live in the same building as a cat.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. Well, what are we doing with... Okay, so we're doing some sort of cat promotion. I believe that this has been a thing over the course of the week. I think it might have been started by Brush, which would lead me to believe that Brush had absolutely nothing else to talk about. So just share cat pictures of yourself. Okay, cool. So, do you guys have cats? If so, email your cat to us at iplabs.gov. And I think we'll put that cat on stream. Or you could also just go to Blue Sky and add us, I believe. Or I think we also got a thread going on in Blue Sky as well. The thing is, Blue Sky still allows you to block people. So if you were blocked by the IPL account on Twitter, will you let us know so we can block you again on Blue Sky when that one comes out? Look at that! The famous Petey and Pebble. I would assume Pebble is the gray cat.
That makes sense to me. They've got a nice little cat throne there, right next to the window. They got a good view.
Well, why is Pebble got to be on the bottom? What makes Petey so? Is Petey like the older, superior cat?
That could be it, or maybe they just had a fight and Pebble fell off the top one, like King of the Hill.
Like Splat Zones, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there you go. There's an example of the famous Petey and Pebble, world famous cats right there going on with Long.
I'd even argue infamous.
Not my cat, unfortunately, but what in the world? Bodega? What is that? I'm gonna have to Google that.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's like a store that they have in like the East Coast area. I went to one in Boston. It was like they had I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but they have a secret room that they don't tell you about.
What? A speakeasy?
What is... Bro's just chilling.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I'm assuming this is just a cat that hangs out the store. It says not my cat. It says blue of ballpoint blue sky dot social. Okay, well, there you go. There's the cat just trying to break its way into a store.
Trying to rob some stuff.
As cats typically do.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Dylan likes to... Oh, it's Rose. Okay, there we go. Dylan's also kind of being a little promiscuous with that wink right there. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know if Dylan's mad or happy with that face right there.
Oh, that's definitely a hey, how's it going kind of look. That's what Dylan is going for right there. Also, shout outs to Rose of Battle. Shout outs to that. Do we have any ore? Is that all the cats that we have?
I shared Batman, but I did not tag IPL or anything like that. Batman is my roommate's cat who yells at night.
Yells at night?
Yes, I think he took the name too literally and tried to like help people at night, but he just keeps me up instead of...
I am the cat that meows in the night. Oh, yeah, that's Darkwing. That's not Batman.
He's got his own nightlight that he just walks in front of, and I guess like makes the little symbol in the air.
Da 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 da. Royalty Roulette. I hear the ding noise. It means they are in the lobby. Now, is this blush? Is that where we're going with right there? That is an I. So. That's an I.
No, that's an L. That looks like an L.
But all the other letters are capitalized. So if that's a capital L, there needs to be the little bar at the bottom of it. That is a capital I. It's pronounced Buish.
Yeah, I do see that. That does make sense. But what if like they were typing their tagging and they just forgot to hit shift or like capital on it?
Well, they should have come to help desk and be like, "Is this close enough? Are you guys gonna ban me?" And then we would have responded with, "We don't care." So maybe they knew that and didn't go to help desk. It is an L in the actual game though, so it is blush is what we're gonna go with here.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see here in a second what Blush exactly wants to play this match. and I believe we're going to be going back to splat zones as the good old low ink fashion is. We're going to be taking a swim at Mahi Mahi zones. Popgun, if you're both these teams, how do you want to start out on this map?
I want to build up those ink strikes, and I want to throw them all over the place. And then while that distraction's going on, I want Woke to light in and just light players up. But before we do that, we are going to take a commercial break. Apparently, what was that? Us DCing, or is the game just going on right there? Nobody was stopping. They were fighting that out.
Yeah, I'm not
Questions?
too sure.
Question mark.
I guess we'll be figuring out here in a second. But this,
so
I think
we
this
left.
commercial break. Yeah, we left. Okay, that's what happened.
So we left, and the question is, was it just us? Are they off fighting in their own little world right now? I don't see anybody in chat for the Battlefy saying what happened or like WTF as they typically do when these scenarios happen. I think they're just playing it out. So I think we just might have to just wait to see what happens. Are they... It says the lobby's joinable down there on our side of things. I don't know if that means like join and wait for the match to be over. We'll take a bit of a peek. My assumption is, and we'll get the official answer right now, joining.
It might be that we have to wait.
Oh, they're in the battle. So yeah, this game, the game is playing off, and guess what? You guys don't get to see it. This is your guys' fault and not ours. Somebody in chat probably did something like sacrifice something to cause issues. And that's not cool that you guys would do that. We're trying to have a good tournament here. We're trying to have a good production. And I can't believe somebody in chat would ruin this by summoning some sort of demon or something that would disrupt us.
Yeah,
why would you guys do that? Come on.
Please don't have sacrificed a cat, because that just throws this whole theme for this month for a loop.
It'd be horrible.
It'd be awful.
Well, while we're waiting for that to happen, so what we got? We can commentate the timer counting down. They are currently at 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in that game. Oh, I think we got a KO. I think there was a KO. Like. It says please wait now. So somebody won. I don't think you can tie in splat zones and altogether. All right, it looks like they're gonna keep playing. So who knows? Somebody won that game.
Either that or the please wait just decided to win against the timer.
Well,
I guess we'll see here in a second.
We're still patiently waiting, and while we are back into the lobby.
We have players.
It looks like somebody won a game. We'll wait for them to report the score to figure out what happened right there. And hopefully that was just like a one-off kind of weird thing. And we actually get to find ways to see this set.
Yeah, somebody in chat said we got kicked out because we thought the bodega cat was going to rob the store. But I think we're right, though.
The counter pick is coming out from Royalty. Inkblot Tower Control. So that would suggest that Roulette won game 1.
That makes sense.
Roulette won. They KO'd in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and that's all we know.
Yeah, I guess probably the double strikes. That was the one thing I noticed they came back with. That double strikes must have come in clutch. Now, Popgun on this set, since it is losers finals, it's going to be a best of 5. So that means that they don't just need to win 2 rounds, they need to win 3, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yes. Now, do you know why it is best of 5 and not first to 3?
I never thought of it this way. No.
This had to be explained to me because people have brought it up before. Why is it not first to 3? Because if it was first to 3, that would imply that there is a limitless number of games you could play. Like there's a possibility for a tie. But best of 5 implies that there is a maximum of 5 games that could take place. So
it's kind of like the idea of you can foul the ball off as many times as you want, but you can't get more than 4 balls.
Correct. So like a batting in baseball would not be a best of 7. or whatever.
Okay.
It'd be like a first to 4 or first to 3 or something like it. Yeah, that kind of sense.
That's
I get.
interesting.
I'm not well versed in esports to know what esports exists to where tying is like a common thing that can happen. Obviously, in Splatoon, it can only really happen in Clan Blitz, and even then, it's only happened once in Lowink's history of tens of thousands of games played. So yeah, the best of kind of works out here. Tower Control Art Academy is the counterpick by Royalty, who has lost 4 straight games now. They came into that one, were wondering what they were going to do during that break, if they were going to come in against a team that is red hot like Roulette, and it didn't. Well, the score would suggest it didn't go very well into their favor here, but now we're going to Tower Control.
We've seen some interesting picks with that that heavy deco coming out. I haven't seen that in a while, but on top of that, you still have the Nautilus and the Pen on the side of Roulette, and so they're definitely playing very, very safe comps here.
Did Roulette really just play Roulette with their weapon comp? What is this? Double Splatling, Pencil, and Octo Shot. Yeah, and the heavy deco of all things. And by the way, they're going up against the Vanilla Luna Blaster on the opposite side. So
that'll either be a really good thing for them or a really bad thing for them. Kraken
can be deployed by the deco. It also has point sensor. The problem is, what do you do once the Kraken is done? It's kind of like the E-Leader Kraken. It's like, okay, you need to make sure it ends in a safe spot. You're kind of a sit and duck when it's over. Right now, 2 Splatlings versus the world right now. Splashdown doesn't connect, and it's just a Pencil left alive for Roulette, as Royalty now starting to push up with their Luna Blaster ready to go.
Yeah, and that Bucket's in a really good spot to kind of hold the left side. Unfortunately, one of the Splatlings going down, and the Blaster's trying to go for more. Might be able to get 2. Does eventually get one with the trade from Joe, and Joe's able to get the last person, so the Nautilus is going to be the only person alive to stop this tower, opting to instead play it safe, don't feed for any kills. One comes to them, so it kind of works out.
Lush doing a good job of dancing around on the tower, making sure they stay alive and poke players from a distance, buying enough time for these ink strikes to come out to cause a lot of disruption, maybe find a way for Royalty to clear this third checkpoint. The answer is going to be no, though. Able to dodge all of the confusion being thrown their way. Roulette able to hold on defensively. And as you look at their comp, in my mind, this is a very defensive comp. You got 2 Splatlings, a Pencil, and your Octo Shot, which is for ink strikes. It seems like a team that's kind of built to get a huge lead early and then just try to bleed out the clock. We'll see how they play now that they're behind by 2.5 checkpoints.
Yeah, they do have the ability with all that range to, if they can get on flat, they could at least hold Royalty back a little bit and possibly use that to get lead. Unfortunately, they're not even anywhere near close to flat, as people are popping specials all around them and just distracting them. One player goes in with the Zipcaster going down, another player getting taken out by the Nautilus, it looks like, and we see the Slosher over here might be in a good flanking position to at least shark and reveal themselves at the perfect moment to get pinned.
I was about to say, we don't see a lot of Zipcaster in general anymore, especially, we used to see a lot of the Sword, the Stamper a lot, now we just don't. But if you were to use Zipcaster, the one thing you would not want to see on the other side is 1 Splatling, let alone 2, because those things are pretty good at dealing with the Zipcaster coming right your way. But right now, it's Royalty in control of things. They did not give up that first checkpoint, and they're looking pretty solid here en route to tie the setup at 1 apiece with 2 minutes left to go.
Yeah, and I mean, they're using all the perfect resources. First a bomb, and then a bazooka. They really just threw an explosive at someone, and now we're seeing someone just run around with the Zipcaster, not even trying to get kills. Unfortunately, gets picked off in the middle of that shield, so there goes the Splatling, and now players are just going down on the side of Roulette as Blush is solo pushing this tower here.
Yeah, the best thing you could hope to do with that Zipcaster is just cause a distraction until the Splatlings lock onto you and mow you down. But that's fair enough. That's kind of what you want to do at this point. Bleed time off the clock to Zipcast around, draw fire away from the objective. and let the rest of your teammates start to clean things up. Woke wins the 1v1 against the Pencil here, and now is starting to push up, but it isn't going to find much room to go. The Zip Cast is ready to go, and Ink Strikes are halfway online. // semicolon gets erased by Inu with a little bit of a cheesy face at the end of their emote as well. Whole bunch of nonsense with IGNs coming out in this game. As we see 43 seconds left to go. Roulette still struggling to do anything at this first checkpoint.
Yeah, and they finally used the Kraken on there to at least get it broken. Nobody's really shooting at them, so it might have been a little bit of a waste, or they might have just decided, hey, we don't have to shoot at the Kraken because we've got a big lead, we just have to make sure we don't die. And that seems to be exactly what they're doing. They're backing up far enough and getting close enough to the opponent simultaneously where they can just do that. And now they've got specials online to hold in this last 12 seconds popped up.
Yeah, the heavy decos, I mean, you look at their comp and you're just like, look, everyone could ride the tower, but no, we don't need you guys. Like, somebody has to start pushing up. It's kind of like, well, actually hold that thought here because we do, well, actually don't hold that thought because there's a blaster on tower that's just mowing everybody down. GG, go next.
Yeah, and I mean, they played that perfectly. I think the comp coming out of Royalty was kind of perfect because they wanted to have some people in the back lines to be able to control mid, control their plat, and then you just have the blaster just kind of running around stack and not really caring about anyone else in the world. And if someone comes up to them, they erase them or eliminate them. And if they wanted to, if they felt like it, they could just start zip casting towards people and trying to at least distract people. Or maybe their idea was to kill the Splatlings, unfortunately.
You can call // semicolon. You can call them Bolt if you want. That's my usual alias. Well, if you wanted to be called Bolt, there's... you would think you would name yourself Bolt. It's just like this team we're going to talk about, the Dash Before Time. Came in the help desk and was like, change our name to Goober Dash. And it's like, well, what if you guys changed your name to Goober Dash before the tournament started, and we wouldn't have this kind of a random guessing issue. The point I was going to make before about Roulette's comp, I play Hydra in solo queue, and the way solo queue comps work is that it's literally just a roulette, where it just kind of just throws out different weapons at you. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. And there's a lot of times where I'm just like, okay, I guess I have to be the frontliner with my Hydra because that's just how this comp works out. That's kind of what Roulette put themselves in a position of, where you only got the Octoshot and the Nautilus and a Pencil and another Splatling, where it's like, okay, the heavy deco, guess what? You have to push up because that is what your comp is kind of dictating that you need to do, especially when you're down this much. So the comp, again, only really works if they get a huge lead initially and then they turtle up. But when they have to be the team that comes from behind, there's very little they can do with that. But still, we're tied 1 apiece. This is now Roulette's counter pick. They can't go back to splat zones because they won on that allegedly. Yeah. We didn't see it. Undertow Rainmaker is the call.
This is an interesting pick. I feel, I mean, honestly, after that last match, I don't know what weapons they're going to go with because they might just be putting on a randomizer and running with it, unless that was an intentional pick on the heavy edit. But I think this kind of favors Royalty's comp a little bit because if they wanted to go blaster, they still can. We could have // semicolon, do something with it. Or maybe what their idea is, they're going to throw back the double ink strike and try and make that work on the side of Roulette.
I bet they're going to go back to Wiper. We saw them use Wiper a lot against the Dash Before Time. It wasn't very effective. But it was more so the hammer that just wasn't really working out. So they're going to say, you know what? Let's use hammer still, but let's use sploosh. Let's go half of a Triton and see if that works out. So they're going to keep the aggression up with the curling bomb as well. As you see, I bet that's a new that just beeline for the basket. 2 players go down a little too close for comfort. You explode right off the bat. But as they go to grab the Rainmaker, I believe that's Joa, able to get a nice double on top of that and shut down the push before it even gets started.
Yeah, Joe doing really good. Unfortunately, getting taken out there by the pencil, but we've got all players on the side of Roulette in a good position to at least push this Rainmaker if it can ever pop. Both teams are fighting for it, and no one's really able to coming out on top. One team finally does, and the side of Royalty actually getting traded out a couple times here, and Royalty's going to be the first team to really try and push this Rainmaker. David on this left side making something work with it. Unfortunately, getting taken out eventually by New, and New's going to try and use this. Did they pop their hammer there?
They did. I think they used it just to make sure that they would pop the Rainmaker, or pop the shield and go for the Instagram. I like the idea, though, of just, hey, let's just not waste time. Let's just grab it and go right for this right checkpoint. I feel like a lot of teams don't go for that hardly ever when they feel like they should more often. It's right there, but they don't get the dunk when it was still a good effort by Anu. But now the strip plate flip as Royalty is back in charge of things.
That was
There's Luna Blaster for you.
And Joa is going to finally take the Rainmaker to the left after deciding between left and right. Finally dunks it, and now they've got a really good position to where if they can get this pop, or if they can get, they've got one pick, so they can make this work as long as they're using the right special and the right sub to create an opening for whoever's grabbing the Rainmaker. Unfortunately, though, both players are going to go down when they layer on top of each other, and a pencil and a Zuka's looking at them.
And a lot of soda on the side of Royalty as well as Orcanite picks up the Rainmaker. They didn't clear it all the way out, though. David trying to get the nice splat right there, shuts down the Rainmaker, and the rest of their friends from Royalty are still around as well. So they thought the push was over, but one player staying alive completely throws the doors wide open. Blush slipping through everything except for one of those pencil shots, getting down to 26 remaining. There's David yet again, somehow all the way back into the enemy area, and they're still keeping the fight. Are they going to dump the Rainmaker over the side? They are. That will at least reset the Rainmaker, but it's still going to give them right back into Royalty's hands. They have complete control mid.
Yeah, and one player went down to a trade on that right side, but it does allow for the rest of the team to get into mid without the worry of someone being behind them. Orcanite trying to at least push this left side, hang around to reveal any players, but everyone's actually just sharking on the right side, not allowing for Orcanite to get any value out of that. We have Anu trying to make some work with that curling bomb. Who knows? We might be seeing some curling bomb kills come out with the way that they're placing them.
Now Orcanite trying to build up some Zukas and get them to work into their favor to open the door. By the way, they still have to get past this first checkpoint. Here's the player that wants to be known as Bolt, but named themselves something different for some reason, as they're trying to land some pretty good... What's the special on that one? Hammer and Fizzy Bomb. So let's get a nice double right here. Actually, let's just get one. I thought they were going to kill that player before they landed the splashdown, as Woke was able to stay alive. A whole lot of nonsense going on in mid. And meanwhile, nobody's touching the Rainmaker until just now.
Yeah, I guess they thought it was a little too fishy. One player trying to make a push for it, unfortunately getting punished. And that's what happens when you push three people all at once. Now one player on the side of Royalty down, as they're making a push, and three players on the side of Roulette down. Anu trying to at least push someone back. Unfortunately, just making a run for it. I don't know how you're alive, and they do get a pick, unfortunately going down, but in the form of three players on the side of Royalty. That's a lot of time they did kill with that pop gun, so Royalty's actually in a really good spot if they can just hold mid here.
Well, they've been doing a great job of holding mid basically the entire game. The only points really that Roulette has put up so far was just when they popped the Rainmaker really quickly with the hammer and then just made a mad dash with the Rainmaker pedestal on the right. So this is really the first push Roulette is going to get an opportunity to do, and it is starting off right now with 20 seconds left to go. Two players down from the side of Royalty. Orcanite were holding up, waiting for their teammates. Woke maybe get a... No, they're going to be a little bit too far away from any specials. So they're just going to have to force their way in there. I wonder if they were being a little bit too impatient. They had about 10 seconds to work with. Now they deliver the Rainmaker to the enemy team. You kind of just have to barrel in there if you're this pencil and make something happen. Instead, they're going to wave the white flag, let Royalty take the set 2-1, or at least take the set into a match point coming up in Game 4.
Yeah, like how you said, Roulette just kind of let that happen. They might have gotten a little antsy. They might have not read the timer on that Rainmaker, but they basically give it right to Royalty with that push. And I think the thing they might have been worried about was that Zuka was just held, and you could see the T-Tech all the way off in the distance on the horizon, waiting for them to get close. And so they might have tried to bait it, but unfortunately, 3 of them went down with that bait. And so that's how that ended up for Roulette. They still got one more counter pick that they can choose from. Popgun, if you're them, what are you trying to look for in a mapper mode?
You know what's so weird? They picked that one. They picked Rainmaker Undertow.
That's
and
true.
They didn't really get the Rainmaker to push with it until the last 30 seconds. Like they won the opening pop, and then still wasn't able to grab the Rainmaker, and like just never like they that did not look good. That did not look like a good game for them. Just more so going up against Royalty there. Let's see. If I have to deal with the Luna Blaster, that seems to be the most, well, as far as like what we're seeing on screen, that seems to be the biggest issue as far as what you're dealing with here. Go back to Splat Zones? Well, no, you can't do that. That's the only mode you want on. I think
I wonder if that's their
they're
strongest one. Yeah,
I think what they're going to end up trying to do is just go back to Clam Blitz, because it's the only mode you haven't tried yet. I wouldn't want to go back to Tower Control, so I would either try my luck with something Clam Blitz wise, or go back to Rainmaker yet again on a different map. Because I really don't want to. I really don't want to mess around with Tower Control, and I really don't like what they were trying to cook with their comp on that mode, anyways.
Yeah, they didn't really have a good foothold, and I'm noticing, and this is just me thinking back, I'm noticing they're really good at that stationary splat zones, and so they could try to go with Clam Blitz to mimic that in some way where the objective may be on either side of the map, but at least it's not continually moving and in one spot. So they might be trying to go with something where they can push up any way they want, and as long as they have some sort of ball or some sort of football, they can make it work. But the only thing is, if they end up winning this, that does mean that Royalty can't choose Rainmaker as their mode for the counterpick. So I wonder if that was intentional. I wonder if they metagamed this and knew that Royalty was really strong on Rainmaker.
Well, the only way that's going to work out is if they find a way to win Game 4. And given the amount of time they're taking to make this counterpick, I would assume this is not Museum Clams is what they're going to ultimately go with here.
Okay.
So we do have the counterpick. Again, if Royalty wins this one, after losing Game 1, they bounce back to win 2 in a row in pretty much dominant fashion both times, even though there weren't KOs. They'll be moving on for a rematch with the Dash of Time of Goober boys or whatever. And right now, Royalty's trying to extend that one. So yeah, Clam Blitz Museum. I guess it's up to them as far as like what comp is going to use. Now, this is the team that used Brush and Clam Blitz in the last set, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes, I think that was a new who's been kind of bouncing around between different weapons that used Brush last time, trying to maybe replicate that here.
Yeah.
That's what they're
I think I do like their pick of Museum, because that at least limits how effective that Luna Blaster can be, because it's so open in mid, and in order to kind of get control of that plat area, there's still some obstacles, but you can pretty easily clear any of the obstacles for like the spinners on either plat.
And now the question is just going to be, what are you going to do if you are Royalty? I misspoke when I said the sploosh was on the side of Royalty. It wasn't. Obviously, it was the sploosh was on the side of Roulette. And we saw a lot of wiper play coming out from the side of Royalty against 2 Goober, 2 Dash, or whoever. But we haven't seen that at all here. It's been Luna Blaster, it's been Slosher. They've been trying some different comps here. I wonder if this is just like a warm-up preview for what they might throw a different kind of punch at their opponent if they get to Grand Finals, or if this is just a specific thing they feel like they're good against with this team in particular. There's the Brush, no surprises coming out from the side of Roulette, and there is the Vanilla Range Blaster with Wavebreaker, and this is the question we have with this opening. Who's going to go for the flank, and how many players are going to do it? One flank is coming out from the side of Royalty going down, trying to take on the whole world. A 1v4, that's never going to be a good fight. And one player instantly going down. The flank did not work.
Yeah, but they did allow for David to build a power clan and at least have an early clan economy. They're pretty rich right now, Pop Gun. They just need to find a way to get in, and I think Joey's trying to do that. Unfortunately, getting taken down by one of the players. I believe it was that Pencil. And Orcanite at least trying to hold this mid spot. One player goes down by Woke. Might be pushing up to try and get a second. They do, and now they've got a really good opening to get in and start scoring because they've got some claims themselves.
Looks like somebody ran into the tri-strike, timed at just the perfect time. Woke clearing the path, but the rest of their teammates not able to push up with them. So 1 minute gone by so far. Roulette able to get control of mid, but not much else as they're trying to move up a little bit here. But now we start seeing things move into the favor of Royalties. The Slosher able to get a nice splat right there, and it's 2 players just left alive for the side of Roulette. Here comes the Ink Strikes as well, but there's only one power clam, and it's from the Pencil player, but they make one along the way. Basket popped, but now it seems like they need to back out because there's no way they can get more in there.
Yeah, the Pencil did a really good job at making sure that / semi-cannon until now doesn't kill them, and so that's what allowed them to still hold even though a lot of Royalty was pushing up there. Now that they finally got kills, Woke is trying to at least make something work while that Zuka went off. I think they might have been a little bit too far back to do anything. And New doesn't care, just gonna run in, at least drop one clam in. If they can, we might see this again. They are gonna try and get the lead. Only by 1, 2, 3 clams, and now they're going to choose to back up. Smart decision to at least back up, save your life, and if you can, save mid.
Especially if you're that Pencil player. If the Pencil player stays alive, they have at least presence to put pressure in the mid, so it's just not a free takeover from the side of Royalty. So nice back off right there. Look, we popped the basket, we got a lead. It's not a lead we're going to care about, but we're also not going to care about having 68 remaining either. I'd rather be in a position to hold on as we cross the halfway mark right now. The defense coming out pretty strong from Roulette as they're absorbing the blows that are being thrown by Royalty. One more Zuka shot to be fired, or maybe it already got fired, and right now it's just a battle for mid.
Yeah, and Roulette's doing really good. If I'm them right now, I'm thinking if we can manage to stop this push, that's a lot of power clams and a lot of just clams in general that Royalty tried to use in it. If they can keep those expired, and 2 of them do, they're in a really good spot to at least make sure that they can extend this lead.
Basket gets popped yet again. All 3 players with clams, and now it's just a Pencil left alive. Where are they? Yet again, they are retreating, but look how quickly Royalty is chasing down. I love that, and they're able to get the splat on the Pencil on top of that. So now the script is completely flipped, popping in the basket, working out. There's a splat ROM right there. Blush able to dodge it. Doesn't dodge the second one, but is able to pop the basket. They do have enough clams to get the lead, and they do just that, but they're also getting the splats to extend it as well. All their clams are gone, but they do pick up their Mercy that was just given to them as well. They can't find a way to throw that one in. That would have blown the doors wide open. A minute 20 left to go. A small lead flips back into the favor of Royalty.
Yeah, and Roulette still is in this. They've got a lot of clams online right now, not to mention that Mercy clam. They're all stacked up on that right side, though. They don't have anything, any kind of pressure on the left, so we're just seeing Royalty get back in for free and able to possibly sneak in a power clam if they can get on that box.
1 minute left to go right now. David trying to back off with this plan that they're trying to hold on, but Orcanite and the rest of Roulette trying to take control of mid. It's not going to happen, at least initially. Woke, who's been playing great all game long, getting several splats and comboing them into doubles and triples, is going to have to find a way to get another great string of splats working into their favor right now. They got Splash down to work with as they're just trying to get up on this pedestal, but they keep getting located right here. They do get Soda to work with as well. Nobody has a power clam though. Do they have? I think they still have a Mercy clam to work with.
They do, yeah.
They do back at their basket, so this will at least go into overtime. I think they just want to gather up a power clam along the way, but they're nowhere close to it. Finally, Anu says, enough is enough. We got to pick up this power clam, the Mercy one, and just try to make something happen. Throwing some specials up on the plat as we see Royalty starting to turtle up, throwing some desperation strikes out, and they are able to get a splat. Now, can Woke find a way to get some splats on top of it? The answer is no. So now Anus is going to have to slip through everything. It's not going to happen. All the attention has to be on that one area where the power clam still is. I don't know if they can pick it up and throw it in time. That should do it. Royalty gets the lead and holds on to move back into a date against the Dash for time.
Yeah, they wanted that second date, and I mean they showed it. They played that last minute really well. Even though they had the lead, they didn't try to push up. They didn't try and make things happen. They basically said, "Hey, Roulette, if you want to win this, you have to bring the fight to us." And by doing that, they allowed for Roulette to make one misstep, and they just basically capitalized off of it.
A good run through Roulette comes to an end as Royalty, who took second place last month, is now at worst going to get second place again, if not finally exercise some demons and win the tournament after taking the silver the month before. So we're going to take a quick break and set up that match. Royalty versus the what is their name that they're going with here? The Dash. The Dash Before Time, number 3. That set coming to you right after this. So get your popcorn, use the restroom, kidnap that grocery store cat and take a picture of it and send it to us, and we'll be right back with Grand Finals here on IPL. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Grand Finals of Low Ink, October 2024. I am Popgun, joined by General Storm, and we got a rematch of the winners' finals. Royalty is taking on the Dash Before Time 3, the Time of the Great Goober. And if you were curious what that is a reference to, it is a reference to the Land Before Time, which the title of the third Land Before Time movie is The Time of the Great Giving, which I remember watching on VHS back in 1995.
Hey, I've heard of those things before, VHS.
Yes. A relic of the time long past.
Those are the little thingies that you could, like, turn the little wheelios in the middle, right?
Yes, there were wheelios in the middle of it, much like a cassette tape. Yes. So there you go. Now, if you back in the day, you did not have channel points that you could gamble on, but in the present time, you can. So if you want to get rid of your channel points and put them all on the Dash Before Time 3, you can do that. If you are the person who put a measly 1,000 on royalty right now, if they were somehow to win, you would bet more than double the return on your investment right there. The question is going to be, what is Royalty going to do differently this time? They got swept by the Dash Before Time, even though they swept them last month in losers bracket 2-0. So a little bit of a rivalry back and forth between these two teams. We didn't see Royalty use a lot of Wiper / Hammer in general in the last sets that we saw them play on stream against Roulette. They used it a lot against the Dash against Time, and it didn't really seem to work out that well. Are they just going to stick with Luna Blaster, especially on a map like this Splatoon's making?
I think Luna Blaster is the way to go because they were feeling very confident and very strong on almost every pick they did. But we will see here in not too long if that's what they go with. They might decide to choose a different weapon. They might decide to choose a different comp entirely because, like you said, they weren't really finding what worked against the Dash Before Time, the Freers. But who knows? We'll see here in a minute if they can pull off the victory or if they once again become the victims.
The Dash Before Time started off the day by losing their first game that they played, has since won every single one in a row. And no, you should not have a Broken's monitor. Those are the actual weapons they've been using throughout the time. Paintbrush, Dapple's Nouveau, Vanilla Tint with the Vacuum, and Range Blaster with the Killer Whale. It seems to be the kind of punch that no team really understands how to deal with, and there's Shay right off the bat, mowing down some players with the Dapples, but a nice response early on by Royalty as they'll get the first control zone.
Yeah, Royalty played that really well. The thing that I was going to highlight about the Dash Before Time, oh my gosh, Dave! I was going to say that the Dash Before Time has been really good with their positions and been able to play off each other, but David just said you can't play off each other if you're dead, and now we're seeing the issue of the Zipcaster once again. If you go towards someone, they're going to try and kill you, and in this case they did. David trying to make something work, does get a kill outside of that vacuum somehow, and they're just continuing to try and make this push Top Gun. They're doing pretty well.
The Dash Before Time is not getting set up at all. It looked like they were going to after the initial push, but there's a Zuka taking care of two players. So now they're just struggling to get back into the zone, able to get one with the Paintbrush and flank around this left side with the Dapple player. And that is where Goober Dash is going to be living. They're going to have to be throwing a whole lot of flanks, a whole lot of distraction at the way so that they can open up the door for their Dapple players to get back into control of things. But Royalty's built up a massive lead, and here comes the Hammer, yet again, this time from the Luna Blaster and not from the Wiper. By the way, that is the Vanilla Stamper. I just said earlier in this tournament how we don't see that anymore. It randomly just showed up here.
It just decided to pop back up after 2 years of not being in the meta, but I will say, all they really have to do on the side of Royalty is keep the zone painted, if even halfway enough to where the timer will run out at the end of the day. If they let that happen while the Dash Before Time is not able to get zone, not able to even break down their penalty, like how they're doing right now, just getting kills and allowing for the Dash Before Time to have to back up, to have to not put all the resources onto that square, they're in good shape.
The Stamper player who's been using Slosher up to this point able to get a couple of nice splats, working by themselves, essentially, just taking 1v1 after 1v1 and using their kit to their advantage. But just when it seems like the Goober before time is able to find a way back into control of things, their Dapple's trying to get set up, they keep getting swatted and splatted away. There's a delayed wipeout and the penalties are gone. Is this going to be the first win for Royalty against this team so far today? Blush able to get one nice splat, staying alive up top here and laying down a whole heck of a lot of fire across the zone. That will do it. Game 1 goes with authority to Royalty.
Yeah, and I was telling Popgun before we got on here, this first game is going to decide a lot because, again, the Dash before time had a really decisive victory in the last set that they played against Royalty. If Royalty could come on top like how they just did now, that's going to put them in a really good spot for the rest of the set, which is still a best of 5, but it will at least enable them to have a crack at that bracket reset.
So the Dash before time has been sweeping their way through the tournament all day long. They had a bit of a break right there. It could be just a case of, all right, they slapped us around a little bit. Now we woke up. Now we can go out and play and get back to control of things. So they feel like they are the better team. One loss isn't going to rattle them. But they do have to do something they haven't done in about 3 hours, which is make a counter pick. And they are going to pick Rainmaker at Humpback Pump Track immediately and get into it.
That's a very interesting map because I feel like Luna Blaster still is a strong pick. They might have done this to counter that Stamper pick because, like you were saying, the Stamper was working really well against them, and they might be trying to bait Royalty into using a Slosher of some sort so they can at least get one more point.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to work out pretty well for Royalty as well, because, yeah, they can just go back to that Slosher. I would assume that Stamper is just Splat Zone's Mako dependent that they want to do, which Slosher works out great there as well. But, I wonder if this is just more of a, for the Dash before time, let's activate our Dapples a little bit more. Let's open up some more lanes for them to flank around. The Dash before time is going to win when they can start attacking from all the different angles. Like, they have their tent going one way, their Dapples working on their own on the other one, the Paintbrush just cleaning up everybody. They just throw so many unique things at you that you're not used to seeing unless just some random solo queue comp gets thrown your way. So the longer the set goes on, that's only going to work into Royalty's advantage because they'll get to figure things out a little bit more. So yeah, if this is your, regardless of who you're going up against, if this is your specific best map and mode, maybe that is what the Dash before time is thinking of as we get started here in this game 2. The question is, are we going to see any changes from the side of Royalty? There's the the Luna Blaster still. That is the 52 gal.
That is.
No changes coming out from the side of the Dash before time.
Yeah, this is looking like a very interesting comp. I think that 52 gal is used just to put a wall up against that tent. That would make sense to me, but I see now the reason why they chose this map is because of the tent. If you can get this first checkpoint broken like they're about to do, they might be able to. Nope, unfortunately getting taken down. Players on each side are, but Blush unfortunately getting hit by Tormy, and Tormy getting a second one. This actually puts them in a really good spot in Infa, already in that position for the tent to take advantage.
The good news for Royalty is they able to stop the Rainmaker, at least initially. Actually, no, all that good news just went out the window. There's 20 points remaining. Pretty good situation with all the specials being thrown down there. It's just the pencil left alive.
No.
GG's. If that was a solo queue game, they would not have even gotten a time points bonus out of that because it was under a minute in the KO. Good counter pick.
That was a really good counter pick. I mean, they had every single special to use against that. They used the vac to cheese the first couple points on the Rainmaker after the pedestal, and then they use the Reef Slider to pop it instantly and take it just a little bit more, which ended up being all the way.
And talk about that Paintbrush player, Tormy, able to push all the way up in front of the Rainmaker and clear the way, getting the wipeout as part of a trade so that the doors were just open for that Rainmaker to push up. And it seemed like Royalty was very passive at the beginning. They didn't even try to pop the Rainmaker. It got popped in like the first 7 seconds by the dash before time. They just went right in. They were the more aggressive team, and it seemed like Royalty wasn't ready for that amount of speed that was being thrown at them. But that is how the dash before time, if they're going to win this tournament, that's going to be their MO. Constant aggression. Don't let the other team get set up like they did in game 1, and control the tempo.
Yeah, and I think what you said was perfectly right. With Royalty, I don't even think the person went in mid at the beginning there. That might have been the problem. They had no way to at least pressure the dash before time advance. But we're going to see here in a minute on Scorch Gorge Clan Blitz. Maybe
these players have a date to get to. We're already on to the next game. So be it.
They got the entree out of the way, and now they're on to dessert here. It looks like we're going to be seeing pretty much the same thing come out. They said the Stamper worked last time, so I think it'll work this time. And to be fair, this is a pretty good Zipcaster map, so I understand.
Making the counter pick exclusively so that they can get back to that Stamper. There must be some... what's so weird is they use Soda Slosher, or just Slosher in general, in the previous sets, but against the Tent, where Slosher works out pretty well in that matchup, they don't want to use it for some reason. But right now, things looking out pretty good for the dash before time. The Tent's pushed up in a great spot right here, starting to bully them. And they got the vacuum out as well. This is another special team's probably not used to going up against as they feed right into it, and it does take out one player, the Pencil, on top of that. Things are not looking good for Royalty right now.
Yeah, but if you're the dash before time, you don't have any clams. You finally have a power clam, but that's just 80 points that are left. And they have one more, or at least they had one more pity clam or some kind of just normal clam that didn't actually get thrown in the basket. So really, this push is just wasting time. That's all it's doing, Pop Gun.
2 players down on the side of the dash before time as Blush is going to pick up the Mercy Clam very early. I think that was a little bit of a mistake on their part. That's the only clam they really have right now, and they have nowhere to go with it because here comes the Tent and here comes the Dapples. They're making sure they move in very quickly. They're not going to be patient. They're going to just fire everything in there. 2 players going down. Now it's just the Tent, though. Infa's the last player left alive, and it's the other players that are jumping out from the side of Royalty. Here comes the Hammer trying to get 1 splat. Does have 2 more that were available to them as the players jump into the Tent. But things seem to have finally settled down. But watch how this Dapple player moves. They're basically by themselves, but they're going to probably keep the aggression up and just go after everything that moves.
And that's exactly what they did there. They didn't get the kill on David. They pushed him back far enough to where he's only able to use that Zuka all the way from his base. I'm seeing a lot of really good plays and a lot of really aggressive plays on the side of the dash before time, which is what has really been working for them this entire tournament. Infa able to see David at the last available second, does get the kill, and the Reef coming in clutch. Someone got ran over, it looks like. Infa going back after giving up some clams to pick, the final clam being given over. We're going to see a bit of a better push go on the side of the dash before time.
Well, you spend so much time in your enemy's base, eventually the clams are going to land into your favor. We talk about clam blitz all the time, how everything has to line up. Well, you keep making the right play, eventually things will work out into your favor. That is a delayed wipeout. All of a sudden, the Hammer finally works, coming out from the Luda Blaster, and we'll see, can Royalty do something on the back? Blush just going for it, and somehow gets it in there and survives, and they're just a few clams away from getting the lead. Here comes David, moving around, takes the lead. How are they going to end this push, though? Blush, being the last player left alive, is going to back up, and you better believe the dash before time is going to dash right after that player, getting the Tent set up immediately into this right area with the backing to work with as well. How is Royalty going to respond to this counter push?
They've got to use specials. They're not close to any of them, so I guess just use some bombs right now. I will say that Hammer that came out really just came out of nowhere. If they can do, it seems like they're doing pretty well using the bombs. That Tent is their only issue. If they can get that taken care of like how they've been doing the past minute or so, then really they have open ground to shoot the opposing players, and they don't have anything big that's going to tank a lot of the damage that they dish out.
The dash before time. The question is going to be, how do they respond now that they've been losing? They've been the more aggressive team regardless of who's got the lead so far. But can they find a way to hold off this defense? It seems like the doors have finally worked into Royalty's favors. They pop the basket yet again. Penalty points gone. Here comes the Luna Blaster trying to hold on to things. 3 more clams trying to be thrown up top there. They're trying to get the KO. It looks like they're not going to throw any points on top of it. Oh, now you just got a whole bunch of orange players dive bombing into their depths right there. A couple more backing off, but this is a great opportunity for the Dash Before Time to make another counter push.
Yeah, the only thing good about that dive for the push on the side of Royalty was they had cooler, so they were able to come back pretty quickly. But that was really the only thing. David coming in clutch, at least getting 1 kill, not able to get the second, but somebody on their team did come up on the kill, get another one, and Torm's just kind of sharking here. I don't think any of the players on the side of Royalty know that they're here. Okay, never mind. They definitely know with those bombs.
Somebody looked at the stream and was like, oh, wait a minute, there's a brush up there. If that brush was able to shark away from all that, they might be GG right there because they get behind and blow the doors open. So nice find and force that player to jump back, but we are in overtime with 1 clam that is ready to be thrown at the basket. Restarter is going to open up the door, but they need to get some splats on top of it. But there they are! 3 going down! It's just the Stamper left alive, and they're activating Zipcaster to try to cause some distraction for the rest of their teammates to come back in. There's just a few more power clams that they need to throw in there. Where did that hammer come from? 2 more going down, and Shay's going to be jumping into all kinds of madness. That is a wipeout. Somehow, Royalty hangs on and wins game 3.
That was huge. Again, the hammer just comes out of nowhere at the perfect time to stop those pushes. And honestly, Royalty, I thought they were done for a second with the way that they started going down. I didn't agree with the Zipcaster play until they recalled back and they were able to eliminate that shield that the Tenbrella put up. Infa didn't really have much to do after the shield was gone. And so I think that's what allowed Royalty to come back in numbers and with that hammer magically basically saving the game.
If you are Royalty and you want to win this tournament, obviously you got to force the bracket reset. You got a lot longer of a path to victory than the Dash Before Time does at this current time. You got to be feeling pretty good about how that game was won, because the Dash Before Time was bullying them for like the first 3 minutes. Like they were just setting up shop into the enemy base. They were using the tent extremely well and doing pretty much whatever they wanted. While they waited for the clams to ultimately spawn into their favor. They were still able to break out of and what seemed like too much of a chokehold to break out of, and found a way to get a lead and hold on to that lead, which is something they weren't even close to doing in the previous set against this team. So it seems like the more wins they get, the more confidence they're going to get over the course of this set. And that is not good news for the Dash Before Time, who would love to end this tournament before it gets to a bracket reset. Also not good news for everyone in chat, who is about to lose a whole heck of a lot of channel points if they don't clutch this one out in the next 2 games.
Yeah, I think it's only fair if they end up losing all those points. Everyone has to vote for the opposite team in the bracket reset, just so everyone has a chance at getting back to what they had. But our counter pick here is going to be Tower Control, Ship Shape, Cargo. And so, interesting pick on the side of the Dash Before Time, because I personally don't think that Tent's that great on Tower Control, but it's really good on Ship Shape. So I guess they're fighting one evil with another. Popcorn, what are you seeing out of this that I might not be seeing either?
Well, the Dash Before Time can't pick Rainmaker because they've won on that mode. So what is the closest thing to Rainmaker? How about Tower Control at Ship Shape? Just extremely fast, extremely snowbally. Now let's try to get this huge lead and try to get the KO early. Maybe that's what they're thinking with this Tower Control pick. But yeah, I mean, kind of to your point, I don't really want to fight a blaster on Tower Control in general, but there's only so much you can do up to this point here. The tint seems to have been working out regardless. And I mean, if you're going to use vanilla tint of all things, you got to have some skill with that thing regardless. Where you're just like, yeah, this might not be the best, but I'm a different kind of animal on this thing. And also dapples could be something they're thinking of as well. It's just like, I don't know. I don't think we're going to see any comp changes coming out from the Dash Before Time, because what you see is what you're going to get. Plus, they have Range Blaster as well, which works out obviously really well in Tower Control as well. So, but the game plan is going to be the same. keep the aggression up, keep the fight on the enemy side of the map. This time they don't have to wait for clams to spawn. They can just push the tower and get it done that way.
Yeah, and one thing that I do want to point out, Royalty, I think, started to figure out, hey, if we send someone on the side flanking that tent, we might actually have a better chance at getting the kill onto the tent player, or at least ratting them away from that shield. And
we do have a change. The Dapple players are molding in chat as they are going to the quick respawn Tetras. Still keeping the Reef Slider though, but you get 2 more rolls as opposed to the only 2 that you can get out of the Dapples. As Shay starting to push up immediately, already in the enemy side of the map. And well, if you like cooler, here's a weapon that doesn't need it. It just kind of comes with it standard.
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept of Tetris is you're probably going to die. You're probably going to die a lot. And so if you wear a quick respawn and you don't get a trade, hey, cool, you're back already. And that's what we're going to see here in a second. And like you're saying, we're seeing a very dominant push here in the first minute of the game again.
And it's ship-shaped tower control, so there is no such thing as a lead as long as the clock is still ticking. But still, first checkpoint gone, and not going to get to the second one. Tormy staying alive, providing some jumps for their teammates, making sure that they don't get established on that right little tower area so that they can defend that second checkpoint. However, Blush is right there to clean up. So, yes, 31 on your opening push. Anywhere else is like, okay, this is just GG, we just got to defend. But on a map like this, it's really nothing.
Yeah, especially when they didn't break that third checkpoint, which would be arguably the breaking point of the whole match. We're seeing a lot of players, though, on the side of Royalty go down here or there. Actually, they're doing pretty well right now. The dash before time getting taken out twice by different players. The hammer coming out again, causing a wipeout. This actually gives Royalty the chance that they need to get close to that lead, or more importantly, get close to the knockout.
The checkpoint is cleared. That's the most important thing for Royalty right now, but the dash before time needs to shut down this push before it can get a lot more momentum behind it. Tormy doing a good job of cleaning up some players as it's just a 2v2 right now. No, you are not going to use Zipcast anymore. And they hold control of the lead, but still 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. Tormy doing how is Tormy still on this run right here? This is like a -4 run they've been on, and they haven't been splatted yet.
Yeah, I think they were hiding. Unfortunate. They were hiding for a second until they were found, which, I mean, I guess that's how hide and seek goes. Another player getting found on the side of the dash before time, but Info finally getting the pick, and 2 more players coming back in. We're seeing that Tetra really die a lot, but I don't see a lot of attention being pulled by them. That's the big thing that they need to be able to do, because if they're going to die a lot, they need to at least get one dude to look at them long enough for the rest of their team to get in. We're seeing a bunch of specials come out, 3 go down, all at the same time by different people. The last person getting taken out, and we're going to be see / semicolon, at least set up on the left side, might be ready for a hammer time.
It seems like the play is when they use the vacuum, that's when we zipcast, because the vacuum can't stop the zipcast, and they're kind of a sitting duck. You can't really move a whole heck of a lot with that vacuum, so that seems to be the play that they're going with right now to try to counter Infa, who's doing a good job of blocking things out. But regardless, the dash before time, like the last game, has a pretty decent lead up to this point with 1:30 left to go. Still, both teams have not found a way to get to that last checkpoint, but they're attempting to do so right here. Defensively, Shay trying to break through. They do have this reslider ready to go, and there might be a reslider going right towards this pencil in a second. Although the pencil does move, gets the nice pick on David, but it's the Luna Blaster right there to clean it up. But while all this is going on, the tower's just kind of floating around on the Royalty side of the map, and time is ticking away, so we're now under 1 minute.
Yeah, and with that minute left, the Royalty really has to do a lot. They not only have to get the tower out of their base, they have to get 1 or 2 picks. They do try to find one. Unfortunately, David not able to. Stays alive a little bit, and 2 players on their side are actually going to go down. So the tables have turned for them. Pick, trying to stay alive from that Zipcaster, does, and the Zipcaster is going to go all the way back as Royalty's in a really tough spot with no specials available.
35 seconds left to go. Now it's been a long time since Royalty has pushed the tower into the enemy side of the map, but they know they only need one opportunity to get the lead. They don't even have to get to that final checkpoint. This would be a great opportunity for the Dash Before Time to add to their lead if they can find a way to break out of this stalemate. Here comes the sword, slashing its way through the vacuum. Turns out a sword can beat a vacuum cleaner and pick off everybody else on top of it. And this is the one opportunity that Royalty's been looking for. If they get the lead here, it will reset the bracket. If not, we're going to a Game 5. Blush trying to stay alive on the tower. The Luna Blaster gets eliminated immediately, and that might be the end of it. There goes the Tetra and the player on the tower as well. The defense holds. The Dash Before Time 3 forces a Game 5.
Yeah, that was a very strong performance on the defense there. Yeah, they might have gotten a wipeout, but they did a good job at collecting themselves on the respawn, not getting too far ahead. And actually, what really sealed the deal there was when they killed that Luna Blaster that was trying to hammer in. I think the Luna was trying to get info early so they wouldn't have to worry about the shield, but that type of tunnel vision can get you killed easily, especially when the whole other team is being safe and waiting for the tower to travel to that final destination.
And now, we've had some very fast counter picks here coming out from both teams. They want to get this set going and done with. Here's the scenario. If the Dash Before Time wins this Game 5, the tournament is over, they're the champions, and they are banned forever, and they get a nice little rotating badge for their send-out profile. If Royalty wins this one, we're playing more Splatoon for probably another 30 minutes. So, a lot on the line out here. It is so deflating as the team that is one game away from winning the tournament. If you were to lose right here, and then you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, we have to do this all over again, versus the other team that's like, yes, we get to play more Splatoon, and we're still alive to win this one. So this essentially could be the pseudo tournament championship match right here, because coming back from a Game 5 loss like this would be very difficult for the Dash Before Time. This would be an opportunity where let's just win it and get it over with. The counter pick is going to be coming out from Royalty. They can't pick Splat Zones. They can't go to Mako Mart. And they can't pick Clam Blitz. So, and they also can't go to Scorch Gorge. So they couldn't do like Rainmaker Scorch Gorge. It looks like they're going to go with Tower Control Art Academy. The mode they just lost on, but a different map. A much different Tower Control map.
But we will say that they played that really well the last time in the losers finals. They pretty much dominated the entire match. So I think they're going to try and do the same thing here. I don't know. I think Tower Control, they realize that it's not really the greatest tent map, and so they might be trying to counter Infa in that way. They just have to make sure that Infa doesn't get in on the left side, or their right side really, and get into bats, because if that happens, it's going to be really hard to get them out of bats.
Yeah, and obviously this is going to be a completely different comp from what we've seen earlier on Tower Control Art Academy with the double splatling and the pencil. This is you're not going to have such free reign. You're going to have to be. It's almost like you're going to have to be the more defensive team with the aggression coming out there. I think they're going to go back to Dapples. I think the Tetras was just like, that map is just so long that we need a little bit more slide, a little bit more range. Still keeping the reef slider though, so I think we're going to go back to the Dapples on the side of the Dash Before Time, and I think that might be the only change, but a little bit of time was taken. All these counter picks were coming out like immediately with players readying up their weapons here. This time around, Royalty took a little bit more time to make their pick, and they're taking a little bit more time to decide what their loadout is going to be. So could there be something completely different that they're throwing here? Are we going to keep seeing the Stamper? Are they going to finally bring out that Slosher? Are they going to go back to the Wiper? A lot of choices here in this potential tournament-ending match right now. We don't see... Nope, still keeping the Range Blast, or the Luna Blaster in the Stamper, and obviously nothing really surprising coming out from the side of the Dash Before Time.
Yeah, and if you're Royalty, I think the reason they took so long to make the decision, and maybe even to ready up, was because the nerves are there. If they lose this, they're out, and so they have to win this. They have to come up on top, and we're seeing right now that they're not. Even in a team fight, 3 of them go down, the last player backing up successfully and staying alive. Even now, the cooler comes out, believe. And we're going to be seeing a lot of players trying to make way. Che does get a kill, and that Reef Slider might come up clutch. Doesn't find anyone, but does give access to the base. Oh my gosh, Popcorn, this is looking pretty dominant.
I think we're done here. I think Shay has just called game. I think Shay might have just called game. They went all the way to the enemy spawn in 40 seconds. 2 checkpoints gone, basically for free. You got players out of position, scrambling to just get anywhere there. There's going to be an exploding vacuum by the time you get on top of that tower. The 3rd checkpoint's in danger of getting erased immediately as well. 2 more players going down for the chase before time. Can they even hold on to this? A wipeout with 7 remaining. They're still alive in it, but 1 minute they score 93 points. And now, how do you respond if you're the dash before time? You've got to keep the aggression up, right? You can't turtle up and wait for Royalty to get back into this one. But man, what a mountain to climb.
Yeah, they're on their last leg now. They've got to make it all the way in order to win this. Royalty does have some good picks already on the board. Gets another one. It's going to be a little bit of a stagger. Cheon, though, is going to be on the flank. Sharp just long enough to get the pick to stall tower. Not much else came from that, but it gave the rest of the dash before time to get back into the tower with some specials, and no other players are really going down. It's just a bunch of explosions everywhere.
If you're Royalty, you got to use this whole 3 minutes to get back into this one checkpoint at a time. They cleared the first one, and that seems to be all they're going to be doing. If you are the dash before time, bleed out that clock. Keep the tower on the enemy side of the map, just like you did on the ship shape right now. But so many vacuums are getting popped here by Infa, and they just seems to be doing a good job of absorbing the Zuka shots, and now starting to push up and making sure nobody's in the way. The same question we asked before. Can the tower even be stopped at this point? The Luna Blaster's just going to have to make a dive for it as the clock ticks down. The dash before time fights it out on the tower, and they will not. They will.
Okay.
They will finally win Low Ink.
They definitely were toying there at the end. I think everyone being desperate on tower. The only player that wasn't was Tormy, playing that smart, waiting for someone to come up victorious and just third partying that for the victory. They did that really well. I think the final deciding factor in that match was whenever Royalty went 3 down for a second time, and they couldn't get momentum after that.
The game was over as soon as it started. I mean, as soon as Shay got all the way up there, that was GG at that point. It's credit to the dash before time that they were able to get into those right positions. They were the more aggressive team, and it's really hard to defeat them when you can't keep them all right in front of you, when you have to splat all these players coming across all these different angles, and as soon as you step out of spawn, there's already a Dapples firing at you. But Royalty, doubling down on the tower control, didn't really seem to have a good opening, and it cost them the entire tournament at that point. They're taking second place for the second month in a row. The dash before time 3, the time of the great Goober. Many predicted they would get it done. It wasn't easy, but they able to clutch it out at the end.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's easy or not. What matters is the end result, and that's what they made work. There's not much to be talked down about Royalty getting second again, because that's saying a lot. Honestly, we're seeing over here the beta bracket, we've still got grand finals for beta going on. Hybrid Family stealing your gold, whatever. Now we're seeing again Royalty, they got second, so that means consistency is a big thing. I mean, that's the biggest thing when it comes to training and an esport or even in a normal sport, is if you can stay consistent, you will see results, and I believe that is what we're seeing here, Popcorn.
It's extremely difficult to get back to grand finals after being it the month before. Very rarely does it happen, and only a handful of times has a team won after finishing second place. I think it's only happened 3 times, actually, even if that. So yes, Royalty, hats off to them, but to this Goober team, they got eliminated by Royalty just the month before. They went toe-to-toe with the team that ended up winning it all in winner's bracket, got knocked out by them, and then Royalty did them in. So a revenge set right there, and they were down 2-1 in a game where it seemed like they were going to be up 2-1. So they're able to bounce back over and over again during the course of that best of 5 set. And I said, if that goes to a bracket reset, I think Royalty just runs away with it because how mentally difficult it is to come back from that. But they squashed that bug immediately in Game 5. And there you go. The most low inkish comp of all time. A Paintbrush, a Rapid Blaster Pro, Dapple Dualies that was sometime a Tetra, and what was the fourth one there?
The Tenumbrella.
The Tentumbrella. How could we forget? The Vanilla Tentumbrella, of all things. That comp won low ink. Now, don't try to replicate that, okay? You guys, those players were really good with those weapons. That is not a meta weapon. But if you are just good at your own weapon in general, the meta doesn't really matter. You can overcome it. And while it's not like they face the meta much today anyways, but still, nicely done by them. That's going to do it for us. By the way, anybody who says this tournament takes 5 or 6 hours, it's only been 4. So there you go. That person lied to you if they tell you that. Storm, where can people find you?
Well, if you want to find me on the sky that's blue, you can look up General Dash, because apparently it's illegal to have an underscore in some countries. So instead of General underscore Storm 1, it's General Dash or hyphen Storm 1. What about you, Popgun?
You can find me taking Popgun Jr. out for a walk because it is a crisp 73 degrees outside and it feels like 76. So we're going to take advantage of that. You can also see me on my Twitch channel tomorrow, Popgun25, for the 250th episode of the Popcast. I got a big announcement tomorrow for what the future of that series is going to be, and we'll also talk about everything you just saw here today. From all of us here at IPL, the head TOs for this event, Brush, Hoenn Hero, and myself, the lovely and talented producer of this stream, Ink Fairer, who's been gathering cat pictures over the course of the weekend, and all of the staff that we have working tirelessly, sleeplessly, non-stop 24/7 help desk behind the scenes. We thank you for watching, playing, and participating in this event. We will see you back here next month for a Thanksgiving edition of Low Ink, an American Thanksgiving edition of Low Ink. Until then, congratulations to the Dash Before Time, aka Goober Dash. You are the October 2024 Low Ink champions.